first, slowly standing upright. Lu Han, Han Guang, has gray hair. This is the sequelae of using angry blood boiling. As a powerful subversive's exclusive ability, angry blood boiling is not only harsh to activate, but also causes great damage to the body when used. It will burn quickly and turn into energy. If someone can see his blood volume bar, they will find that his blood volume bar is fluctuating, and his blood volume is reduced due to burning blood, but his blood production ability is extremely powerful. Some blood is lost, and some will soon be made. This is the apparent damage, as well as the potential damage, which is overdrawing the subversive's recovery potential. Lu Han can only maintain a state of anger and blood for at most 7 hours. At the 7th hour, his hair will turn white, and his body's potential to recover from injuries is severely weakened, so he can't keep up with the speed of blood loss. Diet 0. 7 hours of rage and blood, and then another 7 hours of recovery period. After the recovery period is over, Lu Han's recovery potential can return to normal levels. He has been chasing and killing Hanzo. He has used the angry blood state twice, and there is a recovery period in the middle. Lu Han, who is in the recovery period, has greatly reduced his strength, but Hanzo has been scared by him, so he knows to run, but he does not. When Lu Han was recovering, he counterattacked him. In fact, it was useless to counterattack. Hanzo couldn't get close to Lu Han, who was the master Hiraishin. He let Hanzo run away again. This guy's ability to escape is superb, but for some reason, every time he disappears before and after Lu Han, he always leaves some clues so that Lu Han can continue to hunt him down. Lu Han guessed that he wanted to introduce yourself into the land of rain, and then use the power of the Legion to kill yourself. Lu Han is fearless. Sen Luo's revenge must be avenged. Even if Hanzo escaped back to a Megakure village, he would try to break in. Chapter 0614_Shocking the Ninja World. 3 days later, a piece of explosive news spread throughout the entire ninja world at a lightning speed. Konoha Hokage assisted Danzo to defect. The whole ninja world was in a commotion, even an uproar. They couldn't understand, why did Danzo betray Konoha? Also the right-hand man of the second generation of Hokage Senju Tobirama, Danzo can be said to be the right-hand man of the third generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, the best assistant. He has a pivotal position in the entire ninja world, and is known for his loyalty to Konoha and his ability to take the blame. What reason does he have to betray Konoha? The other 4 ninja villages in the 5 major ninja villages all moved after hearing the news. Even the Kurigakure village in the country of water, which did not participate in the Ninja World War, sent a large number of strong people to look for Danzo. Konoha has issued a Super S-Class wanted notice and offered a bounty of up to 30 million taels. However, the major forces are looking for Danzo, not to kill him, or to capture him and send him back to Konoha, but to win him over. Danzo's personal abilities aside, let's talk about the information of his master. He knows everything about Konoha. He knows all the secrets of Konoha. It can be said that whoever can find Danzo can find the weakness of Konoha village. Danzo became the focus of the entire ninja world. However, just 2 more days later, an even more explosive piece of news overshadowed the impact of Danzo's defection. On April 19, the 35th year of Konoha, the demigod Hanzo and the villagers of Megakure went out to ambush Captain Hengguang of Konoha Anbu in the End Valley of the Fire Country. The powerhouses, including the Anbu captain of a Megakure village with the invincible legend, also died in this battle and were killed by Hengguang himself, and only one person died in Hengguang. He was a mysterious powerhouse from the Konoha Anbu root organization. The technique defeated Hanzo. Hanzo fled in the chaos, and the cold light chased and killed. The 2 disappeared that night. The whole ninja world is boiling. Sensation. Unprecedented sensation. Of the Megakure village nicknamed Sanjiu, and respected as a demigod, has not been defeated for more than 10 years. Second only to the god of ninjas Senju Hashirama and a generation of madmen Uchiha Madara. Sarutobi Hiruzen is also very strong, but Sarutobi Hiruzen is Hokage. The prosperity of Konoha village makes Sarutobi Hiruzen strong, and Hanzo. He grew up in the country of rain, which is always in war and chaos, and the harsh environment and lack of resources make his growth path more than the other top powerhouses in the world or much more rugged. The power of Sarutobi Hiruzen is taken for granted. He was chosen by the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama. He succeeded Hokage at a young age. The most powerful ninja village in the world provided him with enough training resources. Forbidden technique he can look at will, from the inheritance of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama, making his growth path smooth. What does Hanzo have? He has nothing. Compared with the third-generation Hokage I, compared to the third-generation Tsuchikage Onoki or the third-generation Kazekage, he did not have the inheritance of a strong ninja village. Secondly, he did not have rich resources, and thirdly, he did not have the guidance of famous teachers, but he still stood side by side with these people and was revered by the world. This is why Hanzo is demigod, and they are not. Amid the rise and adversity, the fierce name deceives the world. This is Hanzo. He is a myth, awe-inspiring, terrifying. However, this myth seems to be coming to an end. A more dazzling name has replaced him. Cold Light, Konoha Cold Light. It took Hatake Sakumo several years to carry out countless dangerous missions, and he was born into death and fought bloody battles again and again before spreading the name of Konoha White Fang throughout the entire ninja world, while Konoha Hengwang only spent one night and only did one thing, so that the entire ninja world, from the strong ninja to the commoners, all know Akatsuki's name. It is rumored that Hongwang is the husband of the medical saint Tsunade, not just Captain Anbu. He has the prestige second only to Sarutobi Hiruzen in Konoha. Rumored that Sarutobi Hiruzen has long set Hengwang as a candidate for the next generation of Hokage, and devoted all his efforts to cultivating. Rumor has it that Hengwang has not been out of Konoha for 3 years. He is dormant and cultivating, in order to be a blockbuster today. To rumors, Hongwang is very talented. He knew 1,000 words at the age of 1, entered the practice at the age of 3, became a genin at the age of 5, and became the captain of Anbu at the age of 14. He is only 17 years old. Too many rumors about the Cold Light are spreading wildly in the whole ninja world. Some are true and some false, and some people who are interested have already smelled the conspiracy. Sarutobi Hiruzen made a public speech on the 6th day after Henko and Hanzo disappeared, strongly condemning Hanzo's ambush for Henko, and urged a Megakure village to surrender unconditionally as soon as possible, otherwise the Konoha Corps would level a Megakure village. On the day Sarutobi Hiruzen delivered his speech, the military mobilization orders he issued were also sent to the various legions. In the Land of Rain, Konoha's 4 main battle legions, except the 1st Legion still sticking to the battlefield, the other 3 legions also sent to the army. Enter the village of a Megakure. This is threatening the village of a Megakure. Konoha's 3 major legions of 5,000 ninjas did not level the strength of a Megakure village. So Sarutobi Hiruzen is just threatening, or diverting. He had already calculated that as long as Hanzo didn't die, he would flee back to the Land of Rain and use the power of the Megakure Legion to fight against the Cold Light, so Sarutobi Hiruzen sent the Legion to contain him, preventing Hanzo from mobilizing too many people. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know where Hongwang was, and he couldn't even confirm that Hongwang was still alive, but he still did it and supported Hongwang in this way, because he had already seen in Hongwang the hope of ending the Ninja World War. Hanzo is out. He is not Hongwang's opponent. Hongwang is chasing him. As long as Hanzo dies, the village of a Megakure may be torn apart, the alliance between a Megakure and Sunagakure will fall apart, and the village of Sunagakure already has the intention of seeking peace. The Ninja World War is likely to end as a result. Konoha, the quickly repaired Hokage building, by the window. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked out the window, looking at the slowly setting sun, and muttered to himself, Hengwang, don't let me down. Chapter 0615-3 Generations of Kazekage. On the 6th day of Lu Han's pursuit of Hanzo, on the northwestern border of the Land of Fire, the low mountain range was like a python lying in the vast forest. 6 days later, Hanzo still hadn't escaped back to the Land of Rain. It wasn't that he didn't want to go back, but that he was on the way to escape. Lu Han simply didn't allow him to walk in a straight line. With enough clues to follow, he would be caught up by Lu Han every time, fight a fight, and then escape. The two circled in the northwest area of the Land of Fire. Until today, he was finally going back to the Land of Rain. This mountain range was less than 30 kilometers away from the southeastern border of the Land of Rain. Inside a dark cave, Hanzo was sitting cross-legged on the dry grass, his breath fluctuated, and he was healing. Clothed ninjas wearing hats stood respectfully. The hats were still dripping. 2 hours ago, Hanzo's psychic beast Sanjiao found them and led them to see Hanzo. The two black-clothed ninjas waited for a long time, and Hanzo's breath finally recovered. He slowly opened his eyes, glanced at the two black-clothed ninjas, and said, "Have you brought an empty scroll?" The tall and thin black-clothed ninja standing on the left immediately stepped forward, took out a few scrolls from his arms, and handed them to Hanzo. Hanzo wrote the contents on the two scrolls, sealed them, and then handed the two scrolls to the two black-clothed ninjas, and said, "Lackey, go back to the village and send the scrolls to Anbu. Fengma, you go to the country of wind and hand over the scroll to Cascage, the third generation of eyes, hurry up." Yes. The two black-clothed ninjas respectfully obeyed, and then disappeared into the cave. Hanzo stood up and disappeared. The southernmost point of the mountain range, the cliff. Hanzo appeared out of thin air, holding a sickle in his hand, looking to the southeast, a cruel smile evoked at the corner of his mouth. The two black-clothed ninjas had told him just now that there were two sensational events in the ninja world recently. One was that Danzo defected from Konoha, and the other was that Hengguang defeated Hanzo. There are already rumors that Hanzo has fallen and was beheaded by Hengguang, and some people say that a generation of demigods has a false reputation and was defeated by the younger generation, and it seems that there is no place to die. Hanzo scoffed at this. He admits that he is not as good as the cold light in the state of forbidden technique, but he believes that it must be the cold light that will die in the end. To this end, he has already made sufficient arrangements. In fact, if he hadn't wanted to kill Hengguang and took the initiative to leave clues that could be traced, he wouldn't have been hunted down to this day, and he would have fled back to a Megakure village long ago. Hanzo is not reconciled. He was unwilling to have his reputation ruined like this. If he just went back to a Megakure village like this, it would be tantamount to admitting that he had failed completely. He couldn't accept such a failure. Therefore, he has made up his mind to not kill Hengguang and never return to a Megakure village. Now to the outside world, both of them are in a state of disappearance. Although some ninjas have found traces of the battle between the two, no one has ever seen the two of them again. And as long as Hanzo can kill Hengguang, he will immediately regain his name as a demigod, even before his prestige is even better. Hanzo disappeared on the cliff. Just over 10 minutes later, a whirlwind rolled up on the cliff, and Lu Han appeared out of thin air. His clothes were tattered and stained with dried blood. He looked a little embarrassed. In fact, he had spare clothes in his space backpack. No trouble, but he was too lazy to do it. "Damn it, I see what other tricks you have." Lu Han opened the insight map and looked at it, then disappeared on the cliff. 2 days later, Sunagakure Village, Land of Winds. A third-generation head with dark blue hair stood by the window, dragging the scroll in his hand, frowning and watching. Behind him, the Anbu ninja of a Megakure village codenamed Fengma stood with his head bowed. Fengma is an elite Jonin, especially good at speed. It took him 2 days to rush to Sunagakure village, and he was so tired that he almost vomited blood before handing Hanzo's handwritten letter to Cascage, the third generation of eyes. Hanzo invites Cascage, the third generation, to kill Hengguang together. In the letter, Hanzo can be said to be Akatsuki's reasoning and emotional, and the pros and cons are very clearly analyzed. For the third generation of Cascage, he should not have participated in this matter. Sitting on the mountain and watching tigers fight is the kingly way. If he assists Hanzo to kill Hengguang, it will inevitably trigger Konoha's crazy counterattack. Sunagakure village is about to be dragged down by this war, and Keizkage, the third generation, has already thought of ending the war. However, Hanzo's ability to speak eloquently is extremely outstanding. He explained how threatening the existence of Hangwang is, and even compares Hangwang to the next god of ninja world, but unlike Senju Hashirama, Hangwang has no kind heart, and he has a flamboyant personality. Ruthless, it is the martial arts faction. It has long been rumored that Hangwang will take over the position of Hokage in the future, and Hanzo also said that once Hangwang becomes Hokage, it will definitely make life in the ninja world ruined, and he has the ambition to rule the ninja world. Hanzo described Hangwang as an unprecedented threat, and expounded from the perspective of the overall situation, how terrifying the fact that the Hangwang possessed Konoha. The balance of the victory of the Ninja World War has been tilted towards the village of Konoha, and Hangwang is a very important part of it. Once Sunagakur village is defeated, the war reparations will definitely make the whole country of Wind vomit blood. For Sunagakur village, a better outcome than defeat would be a truce after the parties reached an agreement. In this way, there will be no sky-high war reparations. The end, Hanzo made a promise to Keizkage, the third generation, that after killing Hangwang, Hanzo would like to bear the consequences of killing Hangwang alone. The outside world would not know that the third generation of Akatsuki Keizkage was also involved. Hanzo wanted fame, and Keizkage wanted stability. This is to the benefit of both parties. 3 generations of Keizkage read the letter over and over a dozen times. After destroying the scroll, he thought for an hour before making a decision. "Tell Ebizo to come here," Keizkage 3 said to the door. Not long after, a tall middle-aged man with a sash wrapped around his head came into the room. Ebizo, Chio's younger brother, the puppet master, and the high-level advisor of Sunagakur village. "I'm going to visit the frontline battlefield." Keizkage 3 turned around to look at Ebizo and said, "While I'm away, you temporarily manage the affairs of the village for me." Chapter 0616 Yuhi Rock Mine. Ebizo was very suspicious. "My lord, it is the critical stage of the war. If you go to the front line to supervise the battle, you will likely be targeted, and if you are not guarding the village, if something goes wrong, I'm afraid." "It doesn't matter, you are fully responsible for everything in the village," Keizkage the third generation said. Ebizo is a well-known wise man in Sunagakur village, good at planning and strategy, and has a great view of the overall situation. "It won't take long, as short as 4 or 5 days, as long as 7 or 8 days, I will definitely come back, that's it." "Lord Keizkage, did something happen to the Rain country?" Ebizo was puzzled. How could Keizkage suddenly decide to go to the frontline battlefield? There was no sign. Since the wind horse sent by Hanzo to pass the message has already been taken to rest in that row, Ebizo has no way of seeing anyone, so he has no way of guessing. There will definitely be some changes in the country of the Rain recently. I will go and see it myself so that I can prepare when I come back. Keizkage, the third generation of eyes, said vaguely, and then ordered, "I am leaving, you should not publicize it, if anyone asks about it. Say I am in retreat not far from the village." "Yes." Ebizo immediately took the order, and he also knew the possible consequences of Keizkage's absence from the village once known to the outside world. After arranging everything, the third generation Keizkage found Fengma again and secretly left Sunagakur village with him. After only half a day of driving, the third generation Keizkage became impatient. Fengma was already fast, but in his opinion it could be said that very slow. He shook off the wind horse and drove at full speed. At noon on the second day, he entered the territory of the Land of Rain. Since he was secretly assisting Hanzo, he didn't want to be known that he was involved in killing Han Guang, so he didn't notify anyone. No one saw him. Bypassing the Sunagakur core station, before dusk, he arrived at the designated location that Hanzo had promised Yuhi Rock Mine. The Land of Rain is a country rich in resources. The reason for the perennial war here is that there are too many resources. Yuhi, there are more than 100 mines that have been discovered in the Land of Rain, many of which have been destroyed in the Sengoku era. Discovery has been mined now. The Yuhi Rock Mine is one such mine that was abandoned due to mining, and it is located in the Togo jungle in the southern part of the Rainland. Poison Jay Jungle is a dangerous place in the country of rain. There are not too powerful wild ninja beasts in the jungle, but there are countless poisonous insects. Not to mention that ordinary people will not come here, even if they are ninjas, their strength is not as strong as Jonin. Will not easily set foot here. The Ninja World War has been fought for several years. The country of rain, which is the core battlefield, has been riddled with holes, but the poisonous jungle has not been destroyed. Medical ninjas, no one really likes this place, they can't avoid it. Yuhi Rock Mine. 3 generations of Cascade stood in the abandoned mine on the half-mountain wall, looking at the jungle outside the mine, his eyes were uncertain. At this moment, there were 21 ninjas in black robes standing behind him. All of them were from Omegakure Anbu. They came here to wait for the 3rd generation Cascade after receiving a secret order from Hanzo. Hanzo's plan brought cold light to the Yuhi Rock Mine. Omegakure Anbu will besiege Hangwang, and the 3rd generation Cascade hides among the members of Omegakure Anbu, waiting for an opportunity to attack Hangwang. Yuhi Rock Mine is not a good place. It is not easy to enter or exit here. Unless you can fly, Cascade, the 3rd generation, has some doubts about Hanzo's plan. If he is also seriously injured after killing Hangwang, will Hanzo treat himself? Where to start? And then put the blame on Hangwang, claiming that Hangwang and Cascade of the 3rd generation will perish together, and led Konoha's focus to Sunagakure village. Hanzo can definitely do this kind of thing. I just don't know if he won't do it. Lord Cascade, I have wronged you. Anbu ninja from Omegakure village said respectfully, shook the robe on his hand, and handed it to Cascade, the 3rd generation. Cascade the 3rd generation looked at the robe, then reached out to take it, quickly put it on, and put on the hat and mask. His appearance looks indistinguishable from Omegakure Anbu ninja. He has already come, so there is no reason to go back immediately. Although a little worried, Cascade, the 3rd generation of his dignified eyes, the strongest in the ninja world, naturally won't be timid when he does things, and it's not the time to back down. Night falls silently. 3rd generation of Cascade returned to the cave in the mine. The fire rose, he ate something, and then found a corner to rest, half awake and waited all night. The next morning, he seemed to feel something. Suddenly opening his eyes, he rolled over and stood up. Hanzo, ragged and covered in blood, was standing beside the burnt-out fire, dripping from his body, as if he had just entered the cave. 3rd generation of Cascade was really taken aback by Hanzo's appearance. It looked too miserable. When did the demigods feel so embarrassed? Judging from the layers of dried blood on Hanzo's body, he was injured more than once, and every time he was injured. Very heavy. Is it the cold light? 3rd generation of Cascade paid more attention to Hangwang, and his murderous intention became more determined. The existence of Hangwang is a scourge to Sunagakure and even the entire ninja world, and it must be eliminated. 21 Omegakure Anbu ninjas are also in the cave. 3rd generation of Cascade and Hanzo were not polite and went straight to the theme. He's already here, Cascade 3 asked. Yeah, Hanzo nodded, his expression a little dignified. I'm guessing that he will come over in 10 minutes. Be careful, this kid is weird, he relies on a forbidden technique to beat me by a few points. This forbidden technique damages the body very much. Many times, his hair turns white due to excessive use of forbidden technique. I thought this forbidden technique would drag him down. He used it very frequently, but it didn't. He always recovered. Forbidden technique. Cascade's eyes flashed. This guy is very difficult to deal with. You are not good at weapons, so don't engage him in close combat. Hanzo reminded. 3rd generation Cascade laughed suddenly, looked down at Hanzo a little, and said, you and I are here, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen comes in person, we can join hands to kill, just cold light. Is he stronger than Sarutobi Hiruzen? Chapter 0617_Hanzo's advice. You'd better be more cautious. I'm not sure whether Hangwang is stronger than Sarutobi Hiruzen. I haven't played against Sarutobi Hiruzen for many years, but the cold light in the forbidden technique state is really terrible. Said, his swordsmanship is self-contained, fast and skillful. Fortunately, his use of Horaishin's technique is not as good as that of Hokage, the second generation of the year. Otherwise, we are really not his opponents. I will naturally be cautious, you can rest assured on this point, but I think your worries are too much. If you and I join forces, he will surely die. The third generation Kazekage seemed extremely confident. The two came to the entrance of the cave and looked at the poisonous forest outside the mine. Other Omegakure Anbu ninjas followed behind, and Kazekage 3 was dressed in the same way as them, so even if someone appeared here and saw them, they wouldn't think that the person beside Hanzo was Kazekage 3. Hengguang's Mangekyo Sharingan has a very special ability. I can only confirm the ability of his left eye. It is a ninjutsu rebound. His Susanoo is not very strong, and it is not difficult to break through. The most terrible thing about him is swordsmanship, especially in the state of forbidden technique. His swordsmanship strength will be improved several times. I have never seen him perform ninjutsu in the state of forbidden technique. This is probably a limitation. He cannot perform ninjutsu in the state of forbidden technique. But not entirely sure. Kazekage the third generation about the characteristics of Hengguang, and Kazekage listened very carefully, but these should be kept in mind. By the way, Hengguang also cast futon, wind-style, flower rain cutting technique on me instantly. Hanzo said, glancing at Kazekage, the third generation of eyes. The technique of cutting flowers and rain is one of the forbidden techniques in Sunagakure village. Since the chakra consumption will be excessive in the process of casting, it will damage the ninja meridians, and there is also the danger of running out of chakra, so people who have learned this technique in Sunagakure village do not much. Before the cold light, this technique has never been rumored. Flower rain cut. Kazekage, the third generation of eyes, frowned for an instant hair. His tone was already unbelievable. It's absolutely true. Hanzo's voice was heavy. I almost died under the attack of this technique, if I hadn't dodged quickly. But it's very strange. These few days, Hengguang and I have been running and stopping, hitting a lot. In more than a dozen games, he only used the instant flower and rain cutting technique on me once. If he used this ultimate move a few more times, I might have died. It seems that this should be a special ability, which is reserved for re-engraving. Or is it using a sealed scroll? Kazekage said. I think so too, Hanzo said. However, there's no guarantee that he won't use it a second time. You have to pay attention to this, don't. Humph. Kazekage, the third generation of eyes, interrupted Hanzo's words with a cold snort. A supreme power has strong autonomy and self-esteem. Hanzo kept admonishing him, making nature annoyed. You are really scared by the cold light. Even if he can do it again, you can dodge it, but I can't dodge it. Hanzo's face darkened, and he didn't say anything. In fact, he didn't care about the life and death of Kazekage 3. Although Kazekage 3 was an ally, it would be good to die with Hengguang, and it was not necessarily a bad thing. Fight to your death. Although Konoha is the strongest, Sunagakure is not bad either. If Sunagakure village really has the will to take revenge for Kazekage and fight against Konoha with all his strength, Konoha may not be able to take much advantage. Hanzo is really worried about is that if the third generation of Kazekage dies, Hengguang is not only not dead, but also not seriously injured. What should I do? Although the probability of such a thing happening is very small, there are too many magical things about Hengguang, and Hanzo has to guard against it. Sir, he's here. A low voice came from behind Hanzo. The person who spoke was code-named Poison Jay. That's right, the Poison Jay of the Poison Jay Forest. The reason why he has such a code name is because of his master's secret technique for controlling poisonous insects. The Aburame family of Konoha is good at controlling insects, and the ability of Poison Jay is completely different from them. The Aburame family feeds the bugs with their own chakra and keeps the bugs in the body, while the Poison Jay uses secret techniques to trigger a special sound wave frequency, to control the wild poisonous insects. He can rely on the poisonous insects to judge what happened in the distant place. Generally, the poisonous insects he controls will become extremely active, and they will never live for more than 3 days, and will exhaust their lives. In the Duje forest, the colorful Madara world is full of exotic flowers and plants, which are very beautiful, but behind the beauty are countless dangers. Luhan appeared on the tree trunk out of thin air, holding a sickle with dried blood in his hand, murderous. Countless poisonous insects are flying in the forest, the humming sound is not heard, centipedes with long arms are climbing on the trees, spiders the size of basins are spinning silk, and colorful beetles are crawling on the grass, as if they are still alive. Unbloomed buds. However, no poisonous insect dared to approach Luhan, and even a highly poisonous winged insect with glowing body flew to Luhan's feet, but flew away immediately, and accidentally bumped into a tree, appearing extremely panicked. There is nothing special about Luhan himself, his breath cannot make all poisonous insects fear, he sprinkled a potion on his body. The formula of this potion comes from Zhaohai. This guy has worked for a Megakure village for more than 10 years and is highly valued by Hanzo. Naturally, he has come to the Pogo forest. He has developed a potion with a smell that can make poisonous insects fear, and this kind of medicine was prepared by Luhan a few years ago, and it has never been used in the space backpack. There are actually 23 people. Luhan looked at the insight map. The big Yuhi point is still Hanzo, and there are 22 small Yuhi points gathered around him. It seems to be more careful. Luhan became cautious. The strength of the Omegakure village should not be underestimated. The shinobi village that can wrestle with Konoha must have some strong people. If Hanzo gathers the strongest people in the village, Luhan will only have to run for his life. Yes, but I don't think so. The Ninja World War is still going on. If Hanzo wants to gather the powerhouses in one place, the other places will be finished. After a few minutes, Luhan, who was running wildly in the forest, stopped abruptly, and the mine was just ahead. Hanzo appeared out of thin air in the distance in front of Luhan. At almost the same time, figures appeared around him. Chapter 0618_kill Cage in seconds. Hanzo's clothes were tattered, Luhan's clothes were tattered, Hanzo was covered in blood mist, and Luhan was also covered in blood, also carrying a knife with dried blood. At this moment, the two were very similar. The two of them ran and beat, without sleep, for 7 days, and finally ushered in a decisive battle. Luhan believed that today would be a decisive battle. He had long felt that Hanzo was deliberately leading him to a certain place. The place he wanted to come to was this place, the Yuhi rock mine in the poison forest. This place is very special, inaccessible, and a good place to kill people and bury their bodies. Moreover, Hanzo also found help. Luhan clenched the sword of astonishment, and slowly glanced around. There were 22 helpers. When Luhan saw the 7th person, his heart shook, and he even felt a little incredible. 3 generations of Cage. Why did Cage 3 appear here? Mixed in the Omegakure Anbu ninja does not seem to have anything special. The chakra fluctuations permeating his body are very vague, making it impossible to judge his strength. He hides well, such a terrifying existence. If Luhan really ignored him, he would most likely be attacked to death by him. No need to doubt the strength of Cage, the 3rd generation. He joined forces with Hanzo, and even if Luhan enters the state of burning blood, he is not an opponent. 3rd generation of Cage, known as the strongest Cage in history, bears Kekkei Genkei Jiden magnet style. It has the same rating as Hanzo, a level 70 bronze boss. It turns out that this is Hanzo's trump card. He actually notified Cage to come here. Cage is really here. I don't know whether to live or die. Luhan was not panicked. In fact, if the 3rd generation of Cage showed his identity and made it clear that Hanzo was teaming up, Luhan would probably retreat first, but if the 3rd generation Cage made it clear that he was going to make a sneak attack, the sneak attack must be very close to Luhan. On the surface, Luhan didn't change anything, he just looked around and looked at Hanzo again. What about your forbidden technique? Without forbidden technique, you can't beat me, you will be killed by us. Hanzo stared at Lu Han and said coldly, sounding like he was mocking Lu Han for relying on forbidden technique, but in fact, he was provoking Lu Han. I hope Lu Han can enter the forbidden technique state immediately. After Hanzo's observation, he concluded that the cold light of the forbidden technique state cannot use ninjutsu. So Hanzo really hoped that Lu Han would immediately enter the forbidden technique state, so that it would be easy for the third-generation Kazekage to sneak attack on him. With so many people hitting me, even if you win, you won't be able to win. Lu Han slowly moved the direction of the knife tip. His voice was cold and emotionless. Hanzo, you don't dare to be upright with me. Is there a war? People who are dying, take advantage of their words. Hengguang, you are just like that. Having been with Lu Han for a long time, Hanzo's mouth cannon skills are obviously good. Ha! Lu Leng laughed. A terrifying aura suddenly erupted from his whole body. His figure disappeared instantly, and he moved at a super fast speed and reached the side of an Omegakure Anbu ninja in the blink of an eye. Omegakure Anbu ninja who was operated on by Lu Han, code-named Kingli. Third generation of Kazekage is 7 meters away from the west side of Kangli. Kangli is not weak. As an Omegakure Anbu ninja, he has an inhuman will, very much like a Konoha root ninja. Even if Hanzo asks him to die, he will do it. When Lu Han came, he was fearless. Maybe he knew that he was not Han Guang's opponent. He was shocked, and the dark curse mark appeared on his body in an instant. When Lu Han slashed it, he didn't dodge or dodge. Poochie. Blood splattered, and this knife slashed Kangli's body from the middle, directly dividing it into 2 halves. At the same time when Kangli died, a black light erupted from the curse imprint on his body. More than 10 curse imprint chains sprinted out from the black light and attached to Lu Han's body. Lu Han could not hide, because the forbidden technique performed by Kangli was a after death. It will inevitably backlash, and whoever kills him will backlash. This forbidden technique would make Kangli unable to move, which would backfire on Lu Han, because Lu Han was several series stronger than Kangli, so it wasn't that he couldn't move at all, but it was difficult to move and he lost his agility. Third generation of Kazekage seized the opportunity. He didn't expect the opportunity to come so quickly, but as a superpower, his sense of war is keen. When Lu Han killed Kangli, he happened to have his back turned to Kazekage, the third generation. Immediately after the curse seal chain wrapped around Lu Han, Kazekage, the third generation eye, flashed behind Lu Han, raised his hands at the same time, and 2 strands of iron sand flew out from his sleeves, which condensed into 2 extremely sharp iron on his hands. The thorns, one hit the back of Lu Han's head, and the other hit the back of Lu Han's heart. A terrible sense of crisis enveloped Lu Han. Are you here? Lu Han murmured in his heart. At this moment, Lu Han triggered the magic ring on his finger. Boom, chirps _. Time seemed to slow down. The iron thorn had already touched the back of Lu Han's head and heart, and was about to pierce, but Kazecage's expression became frightened. His eyes slowly widened. He opened his mouth and seemed to want to shout something. He felt the chakra of the rain-cutting technique fluctuated, and more iron sand had flown out of his sleeves. He wanted to form a hard structure that could be defended, but it was too late. Instant futon, wind-style, flower rain-cutting technique. Beautiful and huge lotus, blooming. Third generation Kazekage bore the brunt of the brunt, and was torn into minced flesh by thousands of wind blades. The minced meat had not yet landed, and was torn into blood mist by the next wind blades. The golden light that only Lu Han could see was in the third generation eyes. The place where Kazekage died was shining like fireworks. There should be a soundtrack at this moment, but no, there were only hundreds of falling objects of various shapes, rushing into the sky, and turning into a streamer and drilling into Lu Han's body. Countless wind blades raged in all directions, big trees were destroyed, and the earth was torn apart into ravines. Within a radius of dozens of meters, Lu Han became a dead zone. In a short time, the wind stopped and the sound disappeared, and everything was calm. Only 4 people were killed in total, 3 to be precise, plus a corpse that was cut in half. The others were farther away, and although they were also within Wayuki's attack range, they had the opportunity to dodge. However, Lu Han had already killed the most important person. 3 generations of Kage die. Lu Han turned to look at Hanzo. Hanzo, who hid in a tree in the distance, looked bewildered by Lu Han. Chapter 0619_Ghostly captured. Ding! Congratulations to Subversive for his first kill of a level 70 bronze boss. The reverberation of the first kill had not yet dissipated in Lu Han's ears, and the atmosphere in the Poison Jay forest had been suppressed to ultimate, as if it was about to freeze. Powerful, the 3rd generation of Kage just died. He died too quickly, without the slightest drag, and he didn't even have time to scream before he died. Humans are inherently dead, but the method of death is very important. The difference between Taishan and Hongmao, Hanzo felt worthless for the 3rd generation Kage, and even had a feeling of grief of the death of a rabbit and a fox. He didn't die from being beaten head-on in a dignified manner. Instead, they were born and died. Hanzo has seen through everything. Before the 3rd generation of Kage died, he didn't notice Lu Han's abnormality. It wasn't until the flower and rain cutting technique broke out that he realized that this was a trap in itself. The person is the 3rd generation of Kage, so he showed his back to him, deliberately selling flaws, to attract the 3rd generation of Kage to approach. Hanzo still couldn't accept this fact. Megakure Anbu ninjas who were still alive couldn't accept it. They had all been brutally tempered to have steel-like wills, but they were a little scared at the moment. 3rd generation Kage, it's a pity to die, although I killed him. Lu Leng coldly said. You have already made a big disaster. He is the strongest Kage, the prestige in Sunagakure village is the first in history. No one can match it. If you kill him, Sunagakure village will definitely launch a crazy revenge. Hanzo said with a black face, you don't deserve to kill him at all. This logic is a little shameless. What is worthy or not, war is all about life and death. Let's not talk nonsense, Hanzo, I will hunt you down for 7 days without rest, and the journey will not be less than 10,000 miles. Today, this is your burial place. Boom. Lu Han's body erupted with strange and terrifying chakra fluctuations, blood mist filled his body, and his long hair moved without wind. Anger state. Call. Lu Han disappeared like the wind. Megakure lore order, target cold light. Hanzo shouted in surprise, and at the same time he retreated backwards. Megakure Anbu usually launches suicide attacks when he gets a lore warrant. Lu Han suddenly appeared behind an Megakure Anbu ninja, and the gorilla Yuhi flashed by, cutting the ninja in the middle, and then disappeared again, killing the little minions first. Although Lu Han is stronger than Hanzo, it is difficult to quickly defeating it. He didn't want someone to keep harassing and causing trouble for himself when he fought Hanzo. Lu Han killed 4 people at a very fast speed, but Hanzo never came to stop him. When Lu Han planned to have the 5th person. This ninja was tall and thin, code-named Black Bamboo, and he quickly completed the hand seal. There were 2 ninjas beside him. At the same time as he completed the hand seal, the 2 ninjas were all cut with knives. On his neck, Heiju instantly grabbed their blood-spitting necks, and a huge blood-colored phantom suddenly appeared behind them. Secret technique ghost struggle time. Lu Han had already rushed in front of him, and he couldn't help being startled. He could sense that the blurry blood-colored phantom that appeared behind Heiju should be a god, similar to the god of death or the evil god. Heiju raised his head and let out a shrill howl, his hair quickly turned gray, and the whole person was rapidly aging as visible to the naked eye. Offering Matsuri. This secret method can only be activated at the cost of death, and it is not one person who needs to offer Matsuri, but 3 people. Lu Han's thoughts turned 1,000 times. Everything happened in an instant. A feeling of space freezing had enveloped Lu Han. The bloody phantom vomited blood. It was real light. The speed of light is more than 300,000 per second. Kilometer, even a god, can't avoid the light, and neither can Lu Han. The blood light hit Lu Han's right hand holding the knife, and the burning sensation brought severe pain. At this moment, Lu Han felt that his right hand seemed to disappear, and the pain replaced the existence of his right hand in Lu Han's perception. His right hand was still subconscious. He was holding the sword of astonishment, but he couldn't move any longer, as if he was stiff. Damn, this technique. Lu Han moved away. Ha ha ha, how does it taste? This is the forbidden technique that I researched based on ghouls. Although there are many drawbacks, activating this technique requires at least 3 elite Jonins from Matsuri, and even if it is not activated, as long as you practice this technique, you will be alive. It's only 10 years. Ha ha ha, Han Guang, you're done, this technique is useless. Hanzo appeared behind Lu Han with a mad laugh, and started chasing after Lu Han. You can't live for 10 years by practicing this technique. As a developer, why are you still alive? Lu Han asked calmly. I naturally have my method, ha ha ha. Hanzo laughed wildly again, and he was extremely excited when he finally saw the opportunity to kill Han Guang. Lu Han can imagine that the method Hanzo said must be extremely cruel. This guy can do anything. Lu Han moved frantically, with blood and energy, only a very vague phantom was left, and only Hanzo was present to accurately capture Lu Han's movement trajectory. Approaching Lu Han again and again, not at all worried that Lu Han will use the technique of cutting flowers and rain again. While dodging continuously, Lu Han asked the elf if the potion could eliminate this damage, and the answer was no. There is only one way left. Lu Han dodged again, and immediately held the sword of Jinghong in his left hand, which was held rigidly in his right hand, and replaced the right-handed knife with a left-handed knife. Lu Han is good at using his right-handed knife. Originally, he could use both hands, but in recent years he has retreat practice, basically use the right hand. The right-hand knife is several levels stronger than the left-hand knife. What's worse, his right hand is abolished, unable to hand seal. Ha ha ha, Han Guang, today is your day of death. Hanzo rushed to Lu Han again, the guy couldn't stop laughing. Ha, Lu Lang laughed and waved his knife decisively. With a kai, he cut off his right hand at the elbow, and Bai Sensen's stubble was exposed, bleeding profusely, and the burning pain disappeared. It's the pain of a broken arm. Ha ha ha, that's enough. I would rather be disabled than bear this kind of pain. You really are. You, Hanzomoto was still laughing, his face changed drastically in vain. I saw that Lu Han's right arm was growing rapidly, visible to the naked eye. Reborn from a severed limb. Chapter 0620_spoiler. As a subversive, Lu Han is not afraid of the damage of body loss. Partial seals cannot pose a real threat to him. In fact, even if he is cut in half, he can grow back, not to mention the broken forearm. Kind of injury. Damn it, Hanzo scolded, a little exasperated. Healing an injury and being reborn from a broken limb are two completely different concepts. Lu Han's right arm is growing rapidly, and it seems that it will take some time to fully recover. Kill him, quick, Hanzo shouted angrily. We're still 11 Anbu ninjas from a Megakure village. They received Hanzo's instructions once again, and they all rushed towards Lu Han without fear of death. Lu Han's right hand hasn't recovered yet, so he's not suitable for fighting with others, but his speed is incomparable to everyone in the field, and he can't win temporarily, so he can hide. The figure with the blood of the orangutan Yuhi turned into a glimpse and rushed into the dense forest in the southwest. Fleeing frantically, although Hanzo and the others chased after him with all their strength, trying to surround Lu Han, they couldn't do it at all. In just 2 minutes, Lu Han fled for several kilometers in the Duge forest, and his right hand finally finished growing. At the same time, due to the difference in speed, the distance between those Megakure Anbu ninjas and Lu Han, as well as their location, were not the same. The blade of Jinghong changed his left hand to his right, and turned around to face the enemy closest to him. The body is like a ghost, the sword light is like a rainbow. This is a season for killing. This game of death and death has become Lu Han's unilateral hunting, no one is his opponent alone. Although some Megakure Anbu ninjas will desperately release the forbidden technique and cause some trouble for Lu Han, it is not impossible. Solve. One after another a Megakure Anbu ninja fell. At the beginning, Hanzo also attacked Lu Han many times. After that, he became more and more cautious in his actions. He was already afraid. Without these desperate men, he would not be Lu Han's opponent at all. It has been verified repeatedly for 7 days. 13 minutes and 36 seconds. Lu Han killed all the Omegaker Anbu ninjas, and Hanzo became the bear commander. Finally got to take Hanzo to open the knife. However, Hanzo did not choose to fight with Lu Han again, but chose to run away. This is not the first time he has done this, and he is familiar with it. After escaping and chasing, the two began to draw circles in the Poison Jay forest. Hanzo did not want to escape from the Poison Jay forest, but the forest here was too dense, the terrain was too complicated, and the densely packed poisonous insects covered the sky and the sun was in a panic. It is easy to judge the wrong direction, and Lu Han will always stop him. Hanzo originally wanted to use the Poison Jay forest to trapped Lu Han and not give Lu Han a chance to escape, but now, it is he who is trapped. There was a constant roar in the forest. After half an hour, there was a river in the Dugo forest a few decades ago, and about 10 years ago, due to the collapse of the Yuhi rock mine, the river was diverted into the underground river, and the river was also dried up. The river that has been dried up for 10 years is only left. Down the river, this is a very wide and deep ditch, which is covered with various kinds of vegetation. Hanzo was running wildly in the river. As long as he walked along the river, he would definitely be able to leave the Poison Jay forest. The bloody aura appeared in front of him. Lu Han flashed over the river like a Yuhi-colored lightning, stopped in front of Hanzo, and stopped again. Kaden, fire style, fire burst. Hanzo started ninjutsu. The flames burst in front of him, surging into a sea of fire, blocking all the rivers dozens of meters wide. Kai. A Yuhi-colored lightning tore through the flames and rushed out of the flames that were enough to burn the rocks. Hanzo was forced to fight Lu Han. The two fought thousands of moves in a row, from the river channel to the high ground on one side, and then from the high ground on the other side into the dense forest. Terrifying shock waves swept the surrounding area again and again. The forest was destroyed in pieces, and there were bursts of roars. Lu Han finally found a perfect opportunity. Just when Hanzo was slightly pulled by the spider silk of the thickness of his fingers, Hanzo just slowed down a little, and he took a step forward and slashed with a long knife. Poochie. The blood splashed. Lu Han wanted to cut Hanzo into 2 sections with this knife, but Hanzo still forcibly moved it at the critical moment, so this knife only brought an arm. Hanzo's left hand left his body and was thrown high. Ah! You! Hanzo shouted in pain. Opportunity. Hanzo, who lost an arm, will not only be unable to hand seal, but also the body will lack balance and coordination, and the overall strength will be greatly reduced. Lu Han approached again and was about to slash Hanzo under the knife. At this moment, an extremely strange sense of crisis enveloped Lu Han. A black shadow came out from the ground behind Lu Han, and his thin arms embraced Lu Han. Lu Han had already sensed the abnormality behind him and avoided him. The shadow disappeared immediately, and Lu Han looked out of the corner of his eye, but saw nothing. When he landed on the tree, another white figure appeared from the tree, and Lu Han dodged again. He knew who was coming, not because he saw it, but because he opened the insight map. Lu Han appeared on the big rock again. This time, finally, no one suddenly appeared to pounce on him. He also saw the person coming. Under the tree not far away, the white figure and the black figure merged into one person, absolutely. Hanzo has taken the opportunity to run far away, but Ju has become a roadblock. If Lu Han went after Hanzo now, he still had a chance to catch up. Do you want to die? Lu Han asked coldly. It was very strange. Even though he was named Yuhi, Lu Han couldn't see his level. That is to say, he had no intention of directly hurting Lu Han. The previous few. Obviously, he wanted to cause trouble for Lu Han and give Hanzo a chance to escape. Hanzo can't die yet. Ju's voice was gloomy. If he dies, this war will be over. Aren't you going to cooperate with us? So you can't kill him. So are you going to die for him? Lu Han flicked the knife in his hand while paying attention to the map. Hanzo hasn't left the scope of the insight map, so long as he doesn't lose his trail, it's no problem to chase him at Lu Han's speed. Why do you have to fight and kill? Black Zetsu grinned, his voice exaggerated. I know, the reason why you are so persistent in killing Hanzo is because he killed your good friend. Sen Luo told me, you guys best friends, right? Chapter 0621_rumor. Rumor. Lu Han's eyes burst with light, as if to see through Juju, and shouted, Sen Luo told you. Sen Luo told you. Yes, he treated me. Ju met Lu Han's gaze, as if he could not feel the terrifying pressure coming on. He also said that he has a son, in the village of Konoha, in the hands of Danzo. Oh yes, you might not know it yet, Danzo has defected from Konoha. Quote. Lu Han's expression was stunned. He chased and killed Hanzo for thousands of miles, just to avenge Sen Luo, but now, listening to Ju, the forest is still alive. Lu Han couldn't help recalling that the night 7 days ago, Sen Luo was attacked by Hanzo in the sky, and was bombarded by Hanzo on the ground. Then Hanzo released his ninjutsu. The flaming flames engulfed Sen Luo, and the green dot representing Sen Luo's existence also followed. It disappeared on the insight map. Underground. The easiest way is to drag Sen Luo underground from the ground to the ground. At different levels, the insight map cannot detect it. Lu Han could imagine what the situation was at that time, and he could rescue Sen Luo and heal him. Only Uchiha Madara is injured. The Poison Jay Forest, where poisonous insects are rampant, is buzzing endlessly. Hanzo with a broken arm turns into a shadow in the forest. The speed is as fast as ultimate. Unusually, there are still some poisonous insects who are good at flying very fast and keep rushing towards him. Originally, Hanzo's subordinate Omegakure Anbu had a ninja who could control poisonous insects, but that man had been killed by Hangguang. The poisonous insects here did not recognize people. Even if Hanzo exuded a dangerous atmosphere, some poisonous insects would still attack him. Group after group of poisonous insects swooped on Hanzo, and then all of them were poisoned and died, falling to the ground piece by piece. Hanzo has the poison sac of the Sancho fish in his body, and he can also release the poison. This time, because no one was chasing him, he didn't lose his way. In just 10 minutes, Hanzo rushed out of the Poison Jay forest. By the river, the water was gurgling, and Hanzo's mutilated body was reflected on the river surface. He knelt on one knee on the river bank, some of his skin had turned blue-purple under his tattered clothes. He was bitten by a poisonous insect and broke his arm. Looks very intriguing. Cold light, cold light. Ah! Hanzo dropped his fist to the ground and screamed shrilly by the lake. A day later, Hanzo, who was seriously wounded, returned to Omegakure village. The legions of Omegakure village received orders immediately and began to shrink their troops and stick to the core area of Omegakure village master in the land of rain. The news spread throughout the rain country in a very short time. The spies of the major forces in the land of rain have all received accurate information, and they are all urgently sent to the headquarters of their respective forces. Han Guang is still missing. Rumors of Han Guang's death spread like wildfire. But just 2 days later, a new rumor caused a sensation in the country of rain, and then the entire ninja world. The credibility of this rumor is very high, because it is said that Hanzo said it himself. Captain Konoha Anbu Han Guang Zankage, the third generation of Sunagakure, in the forest of the rain forest. Hanzo survived, but Hangguang disappeared. People thought it was the destruction of the new myth, but they didn't expect that Hanzo did not kill Hanzo, but cut off Hanzo's arm, and at the same time killed the same level as Hanzo. The third generation of Kazekage. As the major forces in the ninja world got the news, they all sent spies to Sunagakure village. They just want to confirm whether Kazekage 3 is still alive. This is the easiest way. As long as Kazekage 3 shows up publicly, all rumors will be dispelled, and if he doesn't show up, it means he is dead. If he was still alive, it was impossible not to show his face, because the news of his death had upset the Sunagakure Legion, and he had to show up to reassure them. However, 3 generations of Kage never appeared again. 7 days after Hanzo returned to Omegakure village, Sunagakure village, the land of winds, publicly announced the fact that Kage III had disappeared, and announced that Sunagakure advisor Ebizo had become Kage's agent. Before Kage III returned or confirmed the death of Kage III, Ebizo would be in full control. Sunagakure village. In fact, Sunagakure village really can't be sure that the 3rd generation of Kage is dead, and there are no dead or dead. Hanzo said that he was killed by Hangwang, but Hangwang is still missing. The village of Kumogakure once again declared war on the village of Iwagakure, and the Ja army was approaching the border of the land of the land. The village of Iwagakure announced the end of the alliance with Konoha, shrinking all the troops to return to the land of the land, and preparing for a decisive battle with the village of Kumogakure. Sunagakure village once again sent more troops to the battlefield of the land of rain, and the troops are directed at the Konoha core. Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 3rd generation of Konoha village, made a public speech again, urging the village of Omegakure to surrender unconditionally as soon as possible. 3rd generation, and the adjustment of the Omegakure village after Hanzo was severely injured. This ninja war that lasted for several years was once again intensified. This may be the last full-scale conflict in this war, because once this conflict is over, the Ninja World War will be decided. The whole world seems to be hostile towards Konoha. Kumogakure village forced Iwagakure village to withdraw its troops in the country of rain, which was aimed at Konoha. Without the assistance of Iwagakure village, Konoha would face the attack of Sunagakure and Omegakure. Konoha had the strength to win, it was only a matter of time, but now, 1-on-2, the outcome is unpredictable. Another 5 days in the blink of an eye. Counting from that night in End Valley, Hangwang has been missing for a full 20 days. There are rumors that Hangwang has secretly returned to Konoha, but this rumor is not supported by any evidence. Somewhere in the country of fire, in a dark underground cave, braziers stood on both sides of the stone platform. The firelight illuminated a 3-meter radius. On the stone platform was a chessboard. "Aren't you going to let Sen Luo go?" Lu Han, who was wearing casual clothes with his long hair tied behind his head, dropped a chess piece on the chessboard and glanced at the extremely old man across from him. "He still has problems." Uchiha Madara looked at the board, his voice hoarse. "Leave me, he will die." "Is his problem a heart attack?" Lu Han asked. "Not all," Uchiha Madara said. White Zetsu slowly walked out of the darkness not far away, and said in a low voice, "I found Danzo." Chapter 0622 Danzo Must Die. Reason why Lu Han didn't rush back to Konoha village immediately was because of Sen Luo and Danzo. Lu Han didn't believe that Danzo would betray Konoha and fight Sarutobi Hiruzen. With Danzo's strength, if Sarutobi Hiruzen really wanted to kill him, he had no chance of escaping. Understands that this is a play. Danzo once again sent someone to assassinate Lu Han, but Lu Han has grown strong enough to be feared. Sarutobi Hiruzen has no reason to stop Lu Han. At that time, Lu Han represented Sarutobi Hiruzen and visited Lei. The country of Kumogakure village. Danzo sent people to rob and kill on the way. This behavior is more serious, it is equivalent to betraying the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't protect Danzo, so he could only let Danzo leave, let Danzo go out to avoid the limelight. Danzo might not be able to return to Konoha in his life, he just needed an opportunity. Lu Han couldn't let Danzo live any longer. This guy is a complete scourge, and there is a very important point. Sen Luo's son is in his hands, very, very troublesome. After being cured by Uchiha Madara, Sen Luo's strength has skyrocketed. Mangekyo Sharingan and Mokuden wood style, this combination is enough to make Sen Luo ranked as the strongest. If he goes crazy, it will be really scary. Where are the people? Uchiha Madara asked hoarsely. Land of the Vortex, White Zetsu said. You're going. Uchiha Madara looked up at Lu Han, or let Sen Luo go. Or both of you. On the matter of killing Hanzo, Uchiha Madara and Lu Han agreed, Danzo must be dead. For Madara, Danzo used to be Sen Luo's master. Although the power of yin and yang has broken Danzo's control over Senluo, the psychological impact must still exist. The second is that Danzo kidnapped Senluo's son, which will affect Madara. Control of Senluo. Senluo is emotionally unstable. If Danzo uses that child to threaten Senluo, the situation is likely to get out of control. Lu Han stood up. I'd better go. I will try to bring Senluo's child back. Danzo can't use that the child came to threaten me. Lu Han and White Zetsu disappeared in the cave one after another. He has a very strange relationship with Madara now. It can't be said to be a friend or an enemy. Madara once wanted to kill Lu Han, but he saved Senluo, and he finally started to face Lu Han's strength. Lu Han also wanted to use his strength. Two ill-conceived guys, both cooperating and calculating each other. In fact, if Lu Han had the strength to kill Uchiha Madara, he would do it right away, but he wasn't sure. Madara is the same, he lost the confidence to kill Lu Han. After Lu Han and White Zetsu left, Uchiha Madara was playing with the chessboard alone, and a pitch-black voice came out of the darkness without a sound. Black Zetsu looked at Madara and said in a low voice, "Do you believe him?" "It's just to use each other," Uchiha Madara said, putting away the pieces on the chessboard one by one. "I'll give you a task, go and bring that child back before the cold light. If it doesn't work, kill him." On the 17th day of Han Guang's disappearance, in the early morning, in the Kingdom of Vortex. Since the destruction of the Uzushiogakure village, the country of the Vortex has lost its absolute ruler. After the loss of the village of Kurigakure a few years ago, it has shrunk out of the country. In fact, they have already obtained enough benefits without Uzushiogakure village. There is no force that can compete with them for the marine resources of the East China Sea, the country of Vortex. They have little interest in this land, which will arouse the sensitive nerves of Konoha village, and the gain will outweigh the loss. In the past 2 years, there were civil strife in the country of Vortex. It was a war that ordinary people only saw. Now, the turmoil has been calmed down. The interests of the ninja forces in the country have been controlled by many ordinary people. On the north coast, a seemingly peaceful small fishing village. Danzo stood on the tower, watching the ebb and flow of the northern sea, expressionless. This fishing village has been controlled by him. There are no ordinary people here. In addition to him and more than 24 ninjas, there are hundreds of ninjas from all over the ninja world. They are either solo ninjas or missing nin. Danzo uses enough money to buy them off. "Sir." A dark figure appeared behind Danzo, knelt down on one knee and said quickly, "Shaokura is missing, and I can't find him anywhere." "Huh." Danzo frowned back. "When was the last time you saw him?" "Before dawn." "Where's the man who takes care of him?" "Missing too." "Look, live to see people die and see corpses." "Yes." The area of this small fishing village is not large, but it can be regarded as a master. All the ninjas are masters, at least the strength of Jonin. The news is constantly reported to Danzo, "Can't find it, can't find it, still can't find it." Even traces if he didn't stay. Kokura was still a child, and he was taken care of by a female ninja who was bought with money. The two big living people just disappeared, not even leaving a trace. Could it be that the woman moved with compassion and left quietly with the child? Danzo guessed, feeling a little irritable. In fact, he didn't care about the life of that Shaokura, that is, Senluo's son, because Senluo had already died in the Valley of the End, and the value of that child's existence was not high. Danzo was worried that there was an inner ghost. Now the major forces in the ninja world, they all sent people out to find him. If there was an inner ghost, the consequences would be disastrous for him. Chirp! A large bird flew over the sea, gray and white, with wings more than 1 meter long. Danzo stood on the tower and looked into the distance with a happy expression on his face. Your big bird flew into the pavilion on the top of the tower, spit out a small scroll, then flew out of the tower, circled half a circle and flew towards the horizon again. Danzo opened the small scroll, and there was only a simple line on it. Hanguang disappeared on the 15th day and did not return. No signatures, No special marks or symbols of symbolic meaning, just that line. In fact, Han Guang has been missing for 17 days, but it takes time to pass the news. This secret letter was sent 2 days ago. At that time, Han Guang was indeed missing for 15 days. Okay. Danzo smiled as he looked at the scroll. The longer Han Guang was missing, the more likely he was dead. If he could confirm that Han Guang was dead, then Danzo could return to Konoha. Evacuate all. Danzo ordered that the small fishing village was soon empty, and just 10 minutes after Danzo left the small fishing village, a figure appeared out of thin air on the tower. Chapter 0623_No Escape. With a mask on, Lu Han's eyes were as sharp as those of an eagle. Standing on the high tower, he slowly scanned the entire small fishing village. The wisps of cooking smoke had not disappeared, but the small fishing village was empty. Everyone left in a hurry. But in order to clear the traces of just leaving here, Danzo apparently ordered to leave here suddenly out of some consideration, not to escape, but to transfer. He hasn't gone far. The ghost of White Zetsu usually appeared behind Lu Han. I know. Lu Leng coldly glanced behind him, then disappeared. The northern part of the country of Vortex is like a jungle, like a tropical rainforest. The country of Vortex is a country with complex terrain. Although it is not big, it has mountains, rivers, grasslands and forests. This forest is the only one on the north coast of the country of Vortex. From the map, the forest is only 30 or 40 kilometers wide from south to north, but more than 200 kilometers long from east to west. Danzo led a few root ninjas to the front, followed by hundreds of skirmish ninjas who had gathered with money. Shui Binz was in the middle of the team, and his slender figure was inconspicuous. Danzo in front of him, a look of anxiety flashed deep in his eyes. Mazubins is a scout ninja of Anbu in Kurigakure village. He is not very strong. He is nearly 40 years old. He is just an ordinary jonin. The purpose is to keep the country of Vortex chaotic. After the collapse of the village of Uzushiogakure, the country of Vortex soon emerged, and more than a dozen small forces emerged. These forces seem to be the forces of ordinary people, but in fact there are ninjas behind them. Kurigakure does not want someone to settle the chaos in the country of Vortex. If the country of Vortex is once again unified by a certain force, a new daimyo will appear. In this case, there will inevitably be a great ninja force to take over the country of Vortex, and it is the closest to the country of Vortex. The addition to Konoha is Kurigakure. If Kurigakure dares to take over the country of the Vortex, Konoha will inevitably see it as a threat, and war will break out. And if Konoha takes over the country of the Vortex, it will threaten Kurigakure's maritime interests. Kurigakure didn't want to go to war with Konoha, so they had to keep the country of the Vortex separate. In the 3 years since the waterfront came to the country of the Vortex, a total of 26 people have been killed. These 26 people have different identities. It will cause a war, big or small. Not long ago, Shui Binz, who was lurking in the country of Vortex, received a secret order to add the task of finding Danzo to the original task, and the search area was in the country of Vortex. He didn't expect that he would be so lucky. 3 days after receiving the new task, he met Danzo. Danzo has not revealed his identity to the outside world. Except for his cronies, he always wears a mask when he sees outsiders, but Mazubin Z still accurately judged that the rich guy who claimed to be from the land of rain was Danzo. Danzo's camouflage ability is excellent, as is the root ninja, but the coldness of the root ninja and absolute obedience to Danzo gave Mizuhamazawa a basis for judgment. Binz had already sent out the information about the discovery of Danzo 5 days ago, but he didn't expect that Danzo suddenly gave up the small ninja village he was building. He didn't know where Danzo would go, and he couldn't leave the team at will to send information. Why haven't you come yet? If you hurry up, 1 visit is enough. Shui Binz was really impatient. The reward for finding Danzo was to retire permanently. That is to say, as long as the people from Kurigakure village come to the country of Vortex and confirm that Danzo is here, then Mizuhamazawa can directly return to Kurigakure, leave Kurigakure Anbu, remove all his duties, and start retirement. Shui Bin's, who has been out performing tasks all year round, is really fed up with this kind of life, and he really wants to go back and have a good rest. Danzo leads the way. No one knows his plan, he can only lead the way himself, his eyes are very vigilant. Call. A figure appeared in front of Danzo out of thin air, and then 3 figures appeared. These 4 people were all Danzo's cronies, root ninjas, and in the hands of the first root ninja, there was also a half-dead long-hair ninja. There was a commotion in the team, and Shui Bin's also looked tense. The long-haired ninja was covered in blood and was dying. He was still in the small fishing village a few minutes ago, chatting and laughing with Shui Bin's. Like Shui Bin's, he was also an idle ninja hired by Danzo. When the team set off, he was just behind Shui Bin's, but he didn't know when he quietly left. Apparently he wanted to leave secretly, but was caught and brought back. This is a Jonin, and he was brought back without even a single movement. Did you ask? Danzo asked coldly. The land of wind. The ninja with the human root replied coldly. Humph. Danzo snorted coldly, and instantly drew the knife. Blinking his eyes, the knife retracted the scabbard. The long-haired head rolled to the ground. This is the price of leaving without permission. Danzo will execute every person who leaves without permission and is captured. All the 100 ninjas in the team subconsciously lit their necks, and they were silent. They had never seen Danzo perform ninjutsu, but they had seen how powerful the ninjas around Danzo were. Shui Bin shrank his neck subconsciously, making him even more inconspicuous in the team. Naturally, he had heard of Danzo's fierce name long ago, and the longer he stayed with Danzo, the more real Danzo's fierceness became. People are afraid. If any of you want to go, yes, but let me know in advance. Danzo turned back. No, no, no. Swear allegiance to the Lord. Follow me to the death. More than 100 ninjas said in panic. I hope you are telling the truth. Danzo said, turning his head and waving his hand again, on the road. Under the leadership of Danzo, the team continued to move forward. No one saw it. Under the hideous mask, Danzo's mouth evoked a smile. Here, step by step, kill a group, give up a group, and finally those who remain will become his cronies and new root ninjas. Danzo is still thinking about how to use this hidden power outside of Konoha in the future. Call. The figure lingering with blood mist all over appeared behind Danzo out of thin air, stunned and furious. Chapter 0624 The Death of Danzo. Danzo, who has gone through countless lives and deaths, has a very keen sense of death. Since he was severely injured by Luhan and nearly killed 3 years ago, he has overcome his pain and stood up, and his strength has improved. In Luhan's eyes, the rating is still up to 60 white silver boss. The terrifying crisis suddenly enveloped his whole body, and Danzo was horrified. He instantly triggered the instant body technique on his body. Luhan slashed the air with a knife, but they followed him like a shadow. The two were already more than 100 meters away from the team. A gust of wind suddenly broke out on Danzo, and the terrifying futon wind-style chakra seemed to tear everything around him. Puff! The ground was shocked, and a gully of dozens of meters long was cut out of the ground. The ground was shaken, and the blood spurted and swayed like Izumi. This knife slashed through Danzo's right back shoulder, slicing through his body diagonally. Ah! Danzo let out a shrill scream, then his vitality was cut off, and the 2 halves of the body fell to the ground. The golden light that only Luhan could see was shining. Hundreds of falling objects rushed into the sky, turned into streamers, and penetrated into Luhan's body. On May 6, the 35th year of Konoha, Danzo died in the forest on the northern coast of the country of Vortex, at the age of 43. The wind blew lightly, and the bloody smell flew away with the wind. Covered Voice turned his back to the team of more than 100 people, looking at Danzo who was dead on the ground. The aura of brutality made one shudder, and the team was silent. It's like falling into an ice cave. They are now Danzo's subordinates, and that person has already killed Danzo first. But he saw the man cut off Danzo's head with another knife, and then the head disappeared, and he didn't know where it was stored. Kill. Kill him. Kill. The root ninjas all went crazy after the initial lag. They were cold-killing machines. They were dead men. They didn't care how strong their opponents were. They just wanted revenge for Danzo. After all, they are also poor people. Hey, Lu Han sighed softly. Hush underscore. The huge lotus flower is in full bloom, and the futon wind style flower rain cutting technique is blooming brilliantly at this moment. Countless small wind blades swept all around. The team is more than 100 meters away from Lu Hanzu. This futon wind style forbidden technique still can't affect them. Only those ninjas who are not afraid of death rushed to Lu Han's side. At this moment, they were all torn apart by the wind blade. When the wind dissipated, no one could be seen around, only blood was left on the ground. Lu Han turned around and looked at the team of more than 100 people. The figure flashed before the team. The eyes of the mask shone with a cold light. Hundreds of ninjas retreated in fright. At the same time, he was still thinking, who is this person who is haunted by the blood mist? Such terrifying strength is by no means unknown. Lu Han frowned slightly. He didn't see any children in the team. He opened the insight map and observed that a point corresponds to a person. There really isn't one. Call. Lu Han disappeared in front of the team like the wind, and did not speak from the beginning to the end. The ninjas who didn't dare to breathe, look at me and look at you one by one. There were gradually noisy discussions in the team, and suddenly they screamed to attract everyone's attention. Hengguang. He is Hengguang. It must be him. Shui Bin's thought about it, without any evidence. He calculated it by the method of exclusion. Can quickly kill Danzo, skillful in using the knife, thin and cold in temperament, only the Captain Hongguang of Konoha Anbu, who has been in the limelight recently, meets so many conditions. Danzo is Konoha missing Nin. Hongguang came to assassinate him, justifiably. If it is a powerhouse of other forces, finding Danzo is also to win over, rather than kill directly. Hongguang, is that him? That's right, it's probably him. I'll just say, how could such a strong man suddenly appear? No wonder, it turned out to be Cold Light. Hengguang once killed Kazekage, the third generation of eyes, and at the same time severely damaged the demigod and Hanzo. He is already one of the most powerful people in the world. In another place in the forest, Lu Han appeared out of thin air, turned off the angry blood state, and quickly restrained his breath. The little white man grew out of a tree next to him and said in a low voice, I didn't find that child, maybe he was killed by Danzo. White Zetsu knew the real situation, but he definitely wouldn't tell Lu Han. Word. Lu Han glanced at White Zetsu and said, I will go back to Konoha first, give Danzo's head to Sarutobi Hiruzen, and tell Uchiha Madara that I will meet him again. I'll tell you, White Zetsu said, then retreated into the tree and disappeared. Before going on the road again, Lu Han habitually opened the insight map and glanced at it. His expression changed suddenly. He turned around and looked to the east. There were more than a dozen Yuhi points in the east. Near the big Yuhi point. Third generation of the village of Kurigakure, the land of water, level 60 gold boss, Boiling Rain. Boiling Rain is coming to the country of Vortex. 4 years ago, Lu Han, Senju Senluo, Orochimaru, and Hyuga Haeyong joined forces to fight Boiling Rain in the southwestern mountains of the land of Vortex. At that time, Boiling Rain was rated as a 60-level white-silver boss, not Mizukage, but Mizukage's assistant. Lu Han almost killed him. Boyu lost his body, and was resurrected, in the forbidden area of the Ghost Lamp clan in Kurigakure village. According to Uzumaki Mito, his strength will be regressed, but his cultivation experience is still there and can be recovered through cultivation. 4 years later, Boiling Yu not only regained all of his strength, but also improved to a higher level. In the place where Danzo died, more than 100 ninjas quarreled, and there was some confusion. Someone wanted to take over the team, but there was not enough strength to shock. In fact, under the high-pressure rule of Danzo, many people have long thought of leaving. Now that they have a chance, they don't want to go, because Danzo is dead and so are his cronies, who will be the new ruler. A few guys whose strength is close to the elite Jonin have their minds alive. Seeing the chaos around him, Shui Bins could only sigh to himself. Still too late. If the people from Kurigakure village can come here earlier, Danzo might not die, and a living Danzo will be worth winning. Call, call, call. Not far from the bloody open space, more than 20 figures appeared one after another, and the one in the front was wearing a gray robe. Chapter 0625 Mizukage Boiling Rain. The aura generated by the flower rain cutting technique just released is too strong. Even if Boiling Rain does not have a special induction technique, he can still feel the power generated by this powerful S-level futon, wind-style, forbidden technique. More than 100 people who were still arguing in a mess, all stopped after Boiling Rain in a gray robe appeared, and they all became cautious. They did not know Boiling Rain dressed in mysterious clothes. Behind the rain, the 7 closest ninjas to him are unknown. Those 7 ninja knives with different shapes have been the nightmare of the country of Vortex for a long time. Luhan once destroyed the 7 people of the ninja knives of the mist, and most of them died in his hands, but as long as the knives are still there, knew the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist will come out. 7 fierce ninjas surrounded the gray-robed man respectfully. The identity of the gray-robed man has been revealed, because the 7 people belong to Anbu, Kurigakure village, and Anbu directly belongs to Mizukage. Mizukage 3, Boiling Rain. Boiling Rain glanced around, the cold breath spread rapidly, and his brows were deeply wrinkled. Shui Bins was overjoyed when he saw Boiyu, took out the Kurigakure village forehead guard from his luggage and put it on, then hurried out of the crowd, knelt in front of Boiyu on one knee and said quickly, "Kurigakure Anbu Scout, Shui Bins has seen Mizukage, Sama." Quote. What Shui Bins didn't expect was that while he was kneeling down and bowing to Boiling Yu, there was another person walking out of the team. This person looked extremely young, probably under 20 years old, with a small stature. Shui Bins knew him. It's called Riverside. The young man also quickly came to Boiyu, knelt down on one knee and said, "Kurigakure Scout, Gaidong Hujien, I have seen Lord Mizukage." Shui Bins glanced at Gaidong Hujien in amazement. He really didn't know that this young man was also a Kurigakure spy, and he didn't know how many people in the village had been thrown into the country of Vortex. What just happened here? A low voice came from under the gray kabuto hat. Go back to your lord. Gaidong Hujien spoke first. Just now, a mysterious powerhouse appeared and killed Danzo within 20 moves. His body was covered in blood mist, making it impossible to see his true identity. Later, he released an S-level futon, wind-style, forbidden technique Wayuki, killed all of Danzo's cronies. He seemed to be looking for something, looked around the team, but couldn't find it, then left. Boiling Rain and the people he brought changed color, especially the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. The stronger the strength, the more difficult it is to kill the strong. Danzo defected to Konoha village under the attack of Sarutobi Hiruzen. You know, he was killed by someone with 20 strokes. Blood fog. Boiling Yu was also shocked and muttered. In fact, if he is replaced, as long as the opportunity is right, he can kill Danzo in 20 moves under the condition of sneak attack. He still has this confidence, and even if the opportunity is perfect, he can make some arrangements. Inside can be lore. Danzo Grandmaster has many bizarre spells, so is Boiling Rain. But the strength of this ninja world is comparable to or even higher than that of Boiling Rain. How many of them are there? Boiling Rain is thinking. No one dared to speak out. In the messy ninja team, some people were already praying for Boiling Yu to leave soon. The names Danzo and Boiling Yu gave them a lot of shock. People. Some people are afraid of being discovered by Boiling Yu. They come from Sunagakure village, Iwagakure village, Omegakure village and other forces. They are all hidden spies. Like Mizubans, they have already passed the news of the discovery of Danzo, but it is the closest to Kurigakure village, so it is Boiling Rain. Come first. Lord Mizukage, this subordinate knows who that person is. Mizubans said cautiously. Oh, Boiling Yu looked at Shui Bin's. Who is it? At present, many ninja villages and ninja forces in the ninja world are looking for Danzo, not to kill Danzo, but to win him over. Danzo has served as Hokage's assistant for a decade or two and knows everything about Akatsuki Konoha. Konoha strikes. I think Mizukage-sama is also thinking like that. Yeah, Boiling Yu responded with a nasal voice. Therefore, the only people who can suddenly appear and kill Danzo without asking questions are the Konoha ninjas. And they are also ninjas who are good at swordsmanship. Hangguang, Boiling Yu exclaimed directly. The reason why he didn't guess it was Konoha White Fang was because there were rumors that Hangguang had a grudge against Danzo, and Hangguang had been in too much limelight recently. When people thought of the strong Konoha, they first thought it as cold light. My subordinates think it's cold light, Shui Bin said. Hangguang, Yu bit Kiba's teeth and clenched his fists involuntarily. His whole body trembled with excitement. 4 years ago, during a battle in the southwest mountains, Hangguang almost killed him. If it wasn't for the fact that he had the blood of the Ghost Lamp clan, he practiced the Ghost Lamp clan. Life and death forbidden technique is really dead. An inseparable hatred. Boiling Yu's thoughts turned 1,000 times. He was estimating the strength of his side. In addition to himself and the 7 people of the Mist Ninja Sword, Boiling Rain also brought more than 10 Kurigakur powerhouses. He was thinking about the situation where Danzo would not follow. Next, there are more than 20 people in total to fight against the root organization under Danzo, which is enough to crush the root organization. Can you fight against the cold light? Hangguang is already recognized as the next generation of Hokage in the ninja world, and has the hope of becoming the new god of ninja world. If he can kill him, Kurigakur can not only damage Konoha, but also draw Omegakur, Sunagakur, and Kumogakur villages into allies. The ideal situation by then would be to besiege Konoha. Konoha is over. Boiling Yu closed his eyes and folded his hands together, and he did not move like an old monk in meditation, but strange and strong chakra fluctuations spread from him and swept in all directions. His perception technique has been further developed, and the effect is stronger. Yuhi points on the insight map and thought for a long time. He was considering whether to make trouble with Boiling Yu. In fact, he didn't want to make trouble. Konoha and Kurigakur village had long since truce. Kurigakur didn't even participate in the ninja war. He could have troubled Konoha during the ninja war, but he didn't. And the war in the Land of Rain has reached a critical period. Forget it. After thinking for a long time, Lu Han made a decision and disappeared. At the same time, Boiling Yu, who was looking around, suddenly opened his eyes. He felt the breath of cold light, and his chakra fluctuated. Over there, chase. Chapter 0626 really looking for death. Lu Han really didn't want to trouble Boiling Yu. It would be a meaningless battle. He didn't want to drag Kurigakur village into the Ninja World War. During the critical period, Konoha had enough enemies. But apparently Boiling Yu didn't want to let him go. The insight map shows that more than 20 Yuhi points, led by Dai Yuhi Point Boyu, were rapidly approaching the center of the map. Lu Han stopped after moving twice in a row, frowned at the insight map, then turned to look east again. Boyu had left a deep impression on him. He was a guy who was extremely difficult to kill, and he was very interested in all kinds of strange things. The research on weird techniques is not only the best in Kurigakur, but also in the ninja world. However, Lu Han didn't think that Boiling Yu would be his opponent, although it was a hassle to have other people around him. After all, the flower rain cutting technique stored in the magic ring of 10,000 techniques had already been used up. It's really courting death, Lu Han muttered and disappeared into the forest again. Appearing in another place, he took out 3 Hiraishin kunai, threw one into the roots of the tree covered by the grass, threw one into the grass, and threw the third on the tree. Disappearing, appearing, disappearing, appearing. Lu Han is making arrangements. His approach to the technique of Hiraishin has always been slow, and he is reluctant to buy more scrolls of Hiraishin to improve his level, so he can't do that kind of throwing one. With a Hiraishin kunai, you can take down a group of ninjas. Arrange in advance. After Boiling Yu sensed Lu Han, he locked his breath at a distance of only a few kilometers. This lock would not cause him to lose his target. He continued to approach Lu Han and felt that Lu Han's breath became erratic. Accelerate, don't let him run away. Boiling Yu shouted loudly. He doesn't think that this is a sheep entering the tiger's mouth. The power of Han Guang has long been spread throughout the ninja world, but many people are skeptical about it. Being strong is one thing, and being strong is another thing. Hanzo said that Han Guang killed him. The third generation of Cage, but also cut off one of his arms. Is this possible? Possible. The possible meaning is that it may be true, and it may be false. Hanzo killed Cage, the third generation, and then blamed Hangguang. After all, Hangguang has always been missing, and the missing person naturally has no way to defend himself. Allies, it is often used to betray. At present, Boiling Yu has determined that that person is Han Guang, and he is familiar with the breath of Han Guang, but he is skeptical about the fact that Han Guang has defeated two supreme powerhouses at the same time. In fact, his suspicions were correct. The strength to defeat Hanzo and Cage 3 at the same time. Cage 3 was killed by his conspiracy, not killed in head-to-head combat. However, Boiling Yu still underestimated the strength of Han Guang. In the lush forest, the towering trees that have been growing for hundreds of years exude the momentum of Hiroshi. Lu Han is black-clothed and iron-faced. Call, woohoo_. When Boiling Yu appeared, more than 20 other people appeared out of thin air. Kiba, needles, kabuto cuts, shark muscles, flatfish, beheading knives, droplets, 7 knives, 7 people. Lu Han was the first to notice. It's not boiling rain, it's the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. There are 7 people in the new generation of ninja knives. Lu Han just wanted to see if there are any acquaintances, that is, the characters in the original book, but no, they are all strangers. 6 ultra-elite bosses, plus a cage level member of the group of 7 who entered the cage level, a level 60 elite, who is already an old acquaintance of Lu Han, and the only woman in the group of 7, who was the number 2 figure in the group of 7 people of the Blade of Ninja of the Mist 4 years ago. Zhang Haim, who was promoted to captain after Lu Han beheaded Munashi Ghost 7. Lu Han had never been greedy for those 7 ninja knives before, because he had better ones, but now he has changed his mind. The knife is the root of the 7 ninjas of the Misty Ninja Sword. As long as the sword is still there, the 7 ninjas will always exist, and even if they die, they can be rebuilt. And without the sword, even if the people are still there, they are not the 7 people of the Mist Ninja Sword. Hangguang, long time no see. Boiling Yu said in a low voice, staring at Lu Han, like a hungry wolf about to devour. Lu Han had dealt him unprecedented damage. Although he still became a Mizukage with his prestige, the regression of his strength forced him to dormant. A shadow who was not strong enough would not be able to lead Ninja Village to start a war, because that shadow is too easy. If you are assassinated, if you die, there will be trouble. The village of Kurigakure is still a cloud of masters, but over the past few years, Boiling Yu has been cautious. Cold light is the shame of his life. The art of reincarnation and hydration, you rely on this to survive, right? Lu Han asked hoarsely. This was his question. Uzumaki Mito said it was this art, but it has never been confirmed. Who told you? Boiling Yu didn't deny it. A respectable old man. Uzumaki Mito. Yes, Mito-sama knows you very well. It's a pity she's dead. She went very peacefully. The voices of the two are very calm, without a trace of anger, but the atmosphere has been suppressed to the ultimate. At this time, no matter who has extra moves, it will cause a war. This forest is not bad. Although the water vapor is a little heavier, the dead can't feel it. This place is very suitable for your cemetery. Boy Yu said. Where did your confidence come from? Ha! Lu Han smiled. Lu Han disappeared. The boiling rain is gone. The two appeared at a height of 100 meters at the same time. Hundreds of ice cones condensed in front of Boy Yu and roared towards Lu Han. Lu Han spit out a raging flame, and the flame melted the ice cone and swept toward the boiling rain. The collision of water and fire, flames erupted in the sky, and was shrouded in rich water vapor. The two disappeared into the sky at the same time and appeared in the forest, 100 meters apart. Lu Han's swordsmanship is useless, because Boyu doesn't like close combat, so he seldom fights close combat with others. Sweden, water style, vortex knife. Boiling rain hand seal, spit out a huge amount of water, the water rushed through the forest like a torrent, and a spunlace flew out from the water surface, hitting Lu Han overwhelmingly. Do not doubt the power of water. When the flood is raging, manpower is insignificant. As long as the impact force is sufficient, even a mountain will be destroyed by the water waves. Kaden, fire style, majestic destroyer flame, great fire annihilation. Lu Han hand seal, flames erupted in the forest. More than 20 Kurigakure ninjas scattered, surrounded Shang Lu Han. Chapter 0627_ You were wrong. The LV9 Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation and the S-Level Sweden, Water Style, Against Boiling Rain are all large area attack ninjutsu. At the moment when the monstrous waves and the fiery flames intersected, a terrifying shock wave was generated. The forest turned into a steamer in an instant, filled with water vapor, the light and space were distorted, the ground crumbled, the forest, trees, soil and rocks they were all torn and shattered, and the terrifying roar almost pierced people's eardrums. Lu Han was retreating, and Boiling Yu was also retreating. Doden, Earth Style, Big Rock Thorn. I don't know which guy released the A-level Doden, Earth Style, ninjutsu. Lu Han was retreating, but the ground under his feet suddenly cracked, and countless thorns sprang from the ground. Lu Han rose to the sky, dodging the attack from the ground. Call, call, call. Call, call. 5 figures appeared around Lu Han out of thin air, with the same face, the same gaze, the same knife. Lu Han turned around with a knife, and the light of the knife was like a half-moon, severing the 5 figures at once. Boom. Is a clone. These 5 figures all burst into flames, rendering the sky into a sea of fire. Lu Han opened up, and the technique of Hiraishin made him disappear into the air before being swallowed up by the flames. This is the disadvantage of one person fighting a group of strong men. They are all experienced ninja strong men, even the weakest one. It can also release S-rank ninjutsu. Once they enter their rhythm, they will be continuously attacked by ninjutsu. In the ninjutsu confrontation, Lu Han did not have the strength of 12 or 20. Therefore, he was very annoying in one-to-many battles. If it was a group of trash fish, it would be okay to say, but these people are not trash fish. Every one of them is a master with a name and a surname. After the thick fog dissipated, there were many very wide open spaces in the forest. In fact, if it was not necessary, neither Boiling Yu nor Lu Han would be willing to use this kind of ninjutsu method to fight, and no one would be hurt. No one. But it will consume a lot of chakra. Lu Han is gone. Over there, Boiling Yu shouted, pointing to the northwest. More than 20 ninjas chased the northwest in their own way. The boiling rain was the fastest. He locked on Lu Han and appeared in front of Lu Han first. Without saying a word, he quickly hand-sealed. Standing on the bluestone, Lu Han gave Feiyu a mocking look, and then disappeared in front of him. Super Elite Jonin with a strength rating of 50 White Silver Boss rushed forward, Lu Han Ghost appeared behind him, and LV9 Ultimate Rasengan blasted out. At a critical moment, the ninja's body became twisted, as if to flee. However, in such a situation that the gust of wind brought by Rasengan made the space very unstable, other than the super godlike telekinesis technique of Hiraishin's technique, ordinary space-type telekinesis techniques could not be used at all. Boom. The ninja was hit in the back by LV9 Ultimate Rasengan, and it shattered into pieces, blood dripping into the sky. Lu Han disappeared. This forest has been arranged by him. Hiraishin Kunai is not densely distributed, so the coverage area is very large. He relies on the insight map to determine the location of the enemy. Lu Han can take action. Sneak attack. It's a sneak attack. The battle of ninjas is a contest between life and death. This is not a game, so the means of winning is not important, the important thing is to win. In just a few minutes, Lu Han killed 7 people in a row. Including 2 members of the 7 members of the Ninja Blade of Mist, Lu Han put it into the space backpack as soon as he got the special ninja blade, and no one could call him away. Boiling Yu was so angry that he was going mad. He was even more sure that Han Guang's strength was not as powerful as the rumors said, but he couldn't do anything about Lu Han. Lu Han always avoided him. Every time he rushed over, it was too late. The reason why Lu Han didn't fight with Boiling Yu was because he couldn't kill this guy quickly. Once he was dragged by him, others would surround him, and 10 or 20 people would release S-rank ninjutsu at the same time, which was terrifying to think about. You must know that the elite Jonin with some genius can release S-level ninjutsu, and there are no elite Jonin here, most of them are super elite, and a few have reached cage level strength. Get out of here, stay away. When Lu Han killed the 9th person, Bu Yu finally made a decision. He couldn't die anymore. The people he brought were very important, not only their strength, but also their identities. Almost all of them were high-level clan leaders. There are 3 patriarchs of middle-level tribes. Although Boiling Rain is a Mizukage, he can be said to be the Mizukage with the lowest prestige among the Mizukages of all dynasties. For several years, the village of Kurigakure has been in a state of blockade, and the Ninja World War has not been involved. There is a good chance to win the country of the Vortex, but nothing has been done. The martial arts faction in the village has a lot of complaints about Boiling Yu. He wanted to rely on this opportunity to subdue Danzo, enhance his prestige, and provoke a war to become the leader of the ninja war. But Danzo has been killed by Han Guang, and the chance is gone. If it's gone, it's gone, but if most of these people are killed or injured, Boiling Yu's Mizukage won't do it. Even the Ghost Lamp clan will not necessarily support him in the anger of the public. Ninjas are not afraid of fighting, but they are simply killed, but they cannot fight back, which is unnecessary. Receiving the order of Boiling Rain, more than a dozen strong Kurigakure evacuated. They won't go too far. They only need to leave the battlefield with Boiling Rain. They understand that Boiling Yu wants to kill Hengguang alone. Once he succeeds, the prestige he gains is even greater than that of conquering Danzo. Idiot. Lu Han couldn't understand where Boiling Yu got his courage, he was just courting death. The insight map showed that the other Kurigakure powerhouses all retreated 3 kilometers away. Lu Han faced Boiling Yu again, in the open space formed after the ninjutsu confrontation. Hengguang, the deep hatred in the sea of blood, you are already the mortal enemy of Kurigakure village. This is not the hatred between Kurigakure and Konoha, but the hatred between Kurigakure and you alone. You killed people who shouldn't be killed. Boiling Yu said fiercely. Aren't you surprised? Why am I able to hunt down Hanzo? Why am I able to kill Kazekage, the 3rd generation? Lu Han said timidly, aren't you wondering? It's just a rumor. Hanzo blamed you. Do you really dare to admit it? Ha, you think so? Then I tell you, you are wrong. As soon as the words fell, blood mist erupted from Lu Han's body in vain, and he sprinted to the depths of Boiling Rain in an instant. The sword light was like thunder. Chapter 0628 Mangekyo and Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse. The blood mist filled the air, and the sudden rush of salty aura surprised Bo Yu, because Lu Han's speed had more than doubled. You must know that Lu Han's speed, which was already fast before, was doubled, and it was as fast as lightning. Boiling Yu let out an angry sound, his body shrank down and flashed, and it turned into a stream of water. Lu Han's knife light slashed through the water stream, the knife in the air rubbed extremely hot temperature, and a white mist rose from the water stream. The water flowed 100 meters away and turned into Boiling Rain's body, with a slightly burnt smell on his body. Couldn't kill him. Lu Han is not surprised. At this level of strength, it is very difficult to kill each other in seconds. Lu Han was able to kill Yan in a single second because the ability of Yan is too simple, and Lu Han has already grasped the smoke. The way he fought, the smoke turned into smoke and buried him. But Boiling Rain is different. This guy's fighting power is not ordinary. Although he hasn't broken the level 70 bottleneck, his ability to dodge and escape with his unpredictable forbidden techniques is definitely not comparable to Smoke. What kind of technique is this? Boiling Yu looked at Lu Han with uncertain eyes. Destroy your art. Lu Han responded with an icy voice and turned into blood again. Yuhi lightning. He launched an inhumane pursuit of Boiling Yu. Yes, it can only be described by the word cruelty. One-on-one, Boiling Yu is not Lu Han's opponent at all. He can only avoid Lu Han's edge time and time again, but he did not give up fighting back. Sweeten, water style, eightfold mirror. Hand seal in an instant. He turned around and spewed out a large amount of water. Lu Han chased after him. The light of the knife seemed to tear the space apart, and the sound of the shock was like thunder, breaking the five-fold mirror. There is still a triple mirror left. It is not that Lu Han's knife is not powerful enough, but that the knife is not long enough. Approaching again, the knife was fired again, and finally the triple mirror was broken in an instant, and at the same time, Boiling Rain also completed the hand seal, and black light flashed in his eyes under the fat gray kabuto hat. Secret art. The art of the Key Corpse Soul Realm. A black light erupted from the hands of Boiling Rain's combined hands, and countless ghosts rushed towards Lu Han. At this moment, Lu Han, who was wielding the knife, felt that Boiling Rain was getting farther and farther away from him. The sky became gray, and the surroundings were scorched and empty. Ghostly. It's a fantasy. Mangekyo. Humph. Boiling Yu showed a cruel smile. This technique seems to be demonic illusion, but in fact it is not demonic illusion, but a summoning technique. Fake, in fact, are real ghosts, Sharingan can't see through. And because this is a projection, it can't really cause any damage to the target. In fact, as long as the target is fast enough and leaves this area immediately, the spell can be cracked, but who can think of it right away? The projection of the different space affected Lu Han's sight, but it could not be used as a Boiling Rain for the caster. Die! Boiling Yu snorted hoarsely, and more than 10 chains of black curse imprints stretched out from behind and shot towards Lu Han. This technique. Lu Han narrowed his eyes slightly, suddenly raised his hand to cover his right eye, and his left eye, Mangekyo, was spinning rapidly. Heaven and earth move. Lu Han immediately broke away from the projection world, and the surroundings became real. At the same time, Boiling Yu himself fell into the projection world, but this technique was created by him and could not have any effect on him. He was surprised and then disappeared. Lu Han chased Boiling Rain into the forest. Boiling Rain appeared out of thin air, and Lu Han also appeared out of thin air. A half-meter-long wound was torn behind Boiling Rain, and the flesh and blood were rolled. Someone! Boiling Yu screamed mournfully before disappearing. Under the influence of chakra, the sound spread all over the forest, and the 7 Kurigakure powerhouses who were far away from this area all roared and rushed over. It would have been a mistake to let them go before the rain boiled. Lu Han stopped chasing Boiling Yu, and the blood surging all over his body slowly subsided. Release the rage state. The blood rage state is not suitable for group battles, because in this state, Lu Han can't perform ninjutsu, only Kekkei Genkei is not affected. It is very dangerous to not be able to perform magic. You must know that many techniques are beyond the scope of speed, not to say if you move fast, you will definitely be able to dodge. Boiling Yu stood under a tree 100 meters away, looking at Lu Han with bloodshot eyes. The flesh and blood at the wound on his back was squirming and the wound was healing. Hangguang, do you know? You are now the target of public criticism. Sunagakure is going to kill you. Omegakure is going to kill you. Iwagakure gave up cooperation with Konoha because of you. It's all because of you. Konoha's situation is very bad. Konoha is about to be defeated. You are sinner. Boiling Yu said gloomily, is this provocation? Psychological offensive? Lord Boiling Yu, why are you wasting your time with me? If you kill me, that's enough. Lu Han's tone was full of sarcasm. You know that I can't be influenced by your words, yet you still say this kind of nonsense. I believe, with your wisdom, there must be some purpose to talk nonsense. Let me guess. Just as Lu Han spoke, a phantom appeared behind Lu Han, and the pitch-black dagger silently stabbed at the back of Lu Han's head. There is no breath. No sound. No wind. Are you trying to attract my attention? There was a hint of gloom in Lu Han's voice. Same moment. Lu Han's upper and lower elbows, spine, knees, ribs, etc., all exploded with sharp bone spurs. Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, Dance of the Golden Amber. Kai, 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 Kai. There was a piercing voice behind Lu Han, and the phantom who was about to complete the assassination of Lu Han had no time to dodge, and was pierced by several bone spurs more than a meter thick in his arms. Boiling Yu looked horrified. He didn't understand why Hangguang had Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, and he couldn't understand why Hangguang had Sharingan and Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, at the same time. There was a strange chakra fluctuation on Lu Han's body. At this time, Lu Han's control of chakra had reached pervert's strength, but when he released this technique, he still inevitably gave off a trace of breath. Because this technique is so scary. Be careful below. Boiling Yu cried out in a mournful voice. Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, Dance of Early Fern. Boom. In the blink of an eye, a huge earthquake turned a radius of several kilometers into a forest of bones. Chapter 0629 Back to Konoha. As a trump card, Lu Han has always been very cautious about the use of Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse. In his opinion, the biggest role of Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, is to surprise. As long as people stand on the ground, they will be affected by Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse. But for the strong, Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, is not difficult to defend or dodge a purely hard physical attack. Lu Han chose the most suitable opportunity to release Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, at the cost of consuming 80% of chakra. Like an earth dragon turning over, countless white bone spurs sprang out from the shaking earth, each of which was nearly 10 meters long, thicker than a human leg, and the sharpest tip was like a thin needle. All are within attack range. Boiling Yu's eyes were splitting, and his chakra perception was the most sensitive, so he predicted that Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, would appear and jumped up in advance, while the others, Boiling Yu had already seen, the young patriarch of the Teoti clan, a genius ninja only 26 years old, Moody Kizuo was pierced by a bone spur in the process of jumping, and the user of the 7, Hiba, Knives of the Mist ninja sword, Kakigawaki, the first powerhouse of the Sukazan family Sukazan Wave C. Not everyone can predict it. The strength of the combat power does not mean that the chakra can be perceived abnormally, and the speed of jumping is not necessarily faster than the speed of the bone spurs from the ground. The most important thing is that Zazanji dance is an art with no upper limit of power. The more chakra output, the greater the impact. Hangguang has been recognized as a superpower. Even if his chakra volume is not outstanding among many superpowers, it is still much more than a powerhouse in the general sense. With an attack range of several kilometers in a radius, even if it is boiling rain, it is impossible to leave this area in an instant, let alone other people. Lu Han hid in the Bonethorn forest, and the insight map showed that 3 Yuhi points disappeared immediately and were instantly killed. How many people were injured, Lu Han still can't be sure. The boiling rain rushed to a height of 100 meters, overlooking the earth. The ground was white, and there were bone spurs as far as he could see. He yelled wildly, and the Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, ability displayed by the cold light had destroyed his confidence in victory. But many people have died, he can't just leave, there must be an understanding. Secret art. Boiling rain. Boiling rain's famed stunt. Raindrops with corrosive effects flew like bullets into the bone forest, targeting exactly where Lu Han was hiding. Kurigakure powerhouses who jumped into the air also used their own methods. Some cast futon wind style, and wanted to glide out of the area of the bone forest first, and some cast Doden earth style using Doden earth style. The earth style attack tore out a blank in the forest of bones on the ground, and some flashed in the air with the blinking technique. No one chose to go directly back to the ground, because the ground was already Lu Han's home ground. Boiling rain is coming. Lu Han had just drank 2 treasures potions to restore chakra to more than 80%. Then he disappeared and the earth roared. The bullet-like raindrops smashed the bone spurs and smashed the earth into potholes. Smoke rises, obscuring everything. In another part of the bone forest, Luhan appeared out of thin air. In the grass under his feet, there was a Hokage I. As long as it is arranged in advance, it is easy to dodge the attack of the boiling rain. Luhan opened the insight map and glanced at it again. He determined the location of the nearest Yuhi point, and then disappeared again. When he flashed again, it was already the edge of the bone forest. The strong Kurigakure who made good use of futon wind style just now. Glide and land. Luhan flashed forward and slashed down. He's cleaning again. He is more willing to kill these little minions than to kill Boyu. From two perspectives, killing all these strong Kurigakure is more beneficial than killing only one Boyu. The first is the issue of reputation. Han has already killed the third-generation Kazekage. Compared with the third-generation Kazekage, Boiling Yu's reputation and strength are also too low. If it wasn't for his identity as Mizukage, Luhan's killing him would not have helped his reputation much. But killing a group of powerful people with names is different. The outside world will see them as a whole. They are the core strength of Kurigakure. Killing them will directly shake the foundation of Kurigakure. The second is that once they're all dead, Kurigakure stability is inevitable, and one death boiling rain isn't enough to create that impression. Of course, the best outcome is to kill them all. But the ghost knows whether Boiling Yu will run away. This guy's ability to run is also a must. He must kill more people before Boiling Yu realizes that there is no hope in this battle and decides to run away. After losing the supply of chakra, the bone spurs disappeared quickly, leaving a devastated land, and several kilometers of forests were destroyed. This serpentine coastal forest from west to east seemed to be cut off. After Shikatsumiyaku Dead Bone Pulse attacked, all the ninjas in Kurigakure scattered, and several people were injured to varying degrees, which gave Luhan a chance to break through. Boiling Yu was desperately chasing after him, and he could feel that one after another, the chakra fluctuations he was familiar with completely disappeared. Before they had appeared, the disappearance of life breath and the occasional screams hit his nerves again and again. He couldn't catch up with Luhan, and there were Hokage I everywhere. If Luhan could catch up with him, it would be hell. Finally, except for Boiling Yu, there were still 4 people left alive, and Boiling Yu collapsed. Withdraw. Boiling Yu screamed sharply, then disappeared. Luhan stopped and looked at the insight map. Counting the boiling rain, there were 5 people fleeing from different directions, and he didn't chase any of them. It's boring. He didn't want to fight this battle in the first place. It would waste a lot of time to chase and kill, and he has already calculated that this time Kurigakure suffered heavy losses. Boiling Yu returned to the village of Kurigakure, and he would definitely be criticized. There will be turbulence. From Konoha's point of view, this is Luhan's achievement. One day later, Luhan quietly returned to Konoha. The matter of the Kingdom of Vortex had not yet reached Konoha, so the focus of discussion in Konoha village was still the matter of Han Guang's disappearance. Hokage office. Dong dong. Hearing the knock on the door, Sarutobi, who was reading the information, said without looking up, "Come in." Luhan pushed open the door and walked in. Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't look at him, he walked directly to the desk, took out the bag with Danzo's head from the space backpack, and threw it on the table with a bang. "Lord Hokage, I'm back," Luhan said calmly. Chapter 0630-Daring. Sarutobi Hiruzen froze for a moment, and the whole person seemed to freeze. After a while, he suddenly raised his head and looked at Luhan, who was in front of the desk with a gleam in his eyes. This time, Luhan didn't leave Konoha for a long time. It was less than 20 days before and after, but it caused the whole ninja world to be turbulent. From the perspective of Luhan's attire, it is no different from the day he left, with long boots and black robes, a mask covering his face, and a dagger hanging diagonally, but his spirit and spirit are completely different. He has been dormant for 3 years. The sharpness of man. Sarutobi Hiruzen has already set off a storm in his heart, and the return of the cold light will definitely affect the ninja world again. At this moment, he thought of all kinds of possible changes, but on the surface he was still calm and majestic. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, slowly smile. Just come back. Sarutobi Hiruzen was like a kind elder, looking at Lu Han with a look of relief. Lu Han sneered again and again in his heart. From the moment he knew that Danzo defected Konoha, he understood that Sarutobi Hiruzen chose Danzo, and the two had drifted apart. The baggage on the table was soaked with blood, and the space-time in the space backpack was frozen. He cut off Danzo's head and put it directly into the space backpack. He didn't take it out until he returned to Konoha and packed it with the package, so the head was still fresh. The rich bloody smell has dissipated. Throwing the bloody baggage directly on the table is very rude, but Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't mind. Anyone who has experienced life and death twists and turns will always become weird in a short period of time. For example, a ninja who has just killed someone on the battlefield will have their murderousness, which is an inner change. Lu Han cut 3 generations of cage for Konoha outside, and severely damaged the demigods and Hanzo. There were twists and turns along the way, and there were some differences. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally wouldn't mind. Sarutobi Hiruzen could naturally see what was in the bag, so he asked, the head of the 3rd generation cage. No, Lu Han replied, the 3rd generation of cage died under the attack of the S-level forbidden technique, and there are no bones left. Oh, Sarutobi Hiruzen was taken aback, since it wasn't the head of cage 3, who else was worth bringing back? He reached out and hooked the burden, and with a single hook, he untied it. The soft cloth slipped off, revealing the pale head, and the bloodshot eyes were still open. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly got up. The office fell into a dead silence. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes widened, all the hairs on his back stood up, his hair moved without wind, and the hand holding the corner of the table trembled slightly. Danzo. Danzo's head. After my subordinate left the land of rain, I heard that Danzo betrayed the village and disappeared without a trace. This traitor knows too many secrets about Akatsuki and Konoha. If he is allowed to wander, he may cause irreparable damage to the village. As Captain Anbu, I have an obligation to eradicate such scourges for the village, and I came home so late to find him. Lu Han ignored Sarutobi Hiruzen's face and said to himself, fortunately, God favors me, my subordinate is in the country of Vortex. If the traitor is found in the territory, he will be beheaded. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was gloomy and terrifying. He slowly raised his hand and stroked Danzo's eyes, making him close them. Then he turned to look at Lu Han little by little. The blue veins on his neck burst out. At this moment, he did not hide himself. His heart ached, and he didn't even hide his hatred for Lu Han. Looking at Lu Han's eyes, it seems that he wants to eat people. Lu Han looked directly at Sarutobi Hiruzen without fear, and Sarutobi Hiruzen even saw sneer in Lu Han's eyes. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Hengguang was not a fool. On the contrary, he was extremely intelligent. He let Danzo leave. Hengguang must understand the intention. Sarutobi Hiruzen never thought that Hengguang would kill Danzo, because he had already made concessions. Although he chose to let Danzo go to survive, but also decided to cultivate Hengguang with all his strength. But I didn't expect that Hengguang did such an amazing job. Hengguang has been daring to such a degree. Good. Well done. Sarutobi Hiruzen almost bit Kiba. No matter what he thought or arranged secretly, on the surface, Danzo really betrayed Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen also issued a warrant for Danzo. Hengguang killed Danzo. No one can say a typo. Missing nin, die. This is the accepted rule of the ninja world. In the huge and empty practice ground, Tsunade sat cross-legged on the futon, with gentle chakra fluctuations all over his body, and the diamond-shaped mark on his eyebrows shone with brilliance. As early as more than 2 years ago, Lu Han passed the creation and regeneration to her, and made up the story of getting this technique. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open. Hyuga Luo Ningfei ran in and shouted, "Sister, come come again, come and recognize. Hyuga Luo Ning was about to cry, her voice trembling. Tsunade disappeared and immediately appeared beside Hyuga Luo Ning, without any nonsense, go. The two came to the yard. There were already many people in the yard, all dressed in black robe masks. 12 Anbu ninjas formed a circle. Between them, there were 4 corpses on the ground. The 4 corpses looked miserable. 2 were burnt to death and had been carbonized. 1 had no head. The 4th batch. Since Han Guang disappeared, Anbu will send some corpses every few days to identify them to Tsunade. These corpses are all unclaimed or unidentified corpses from outside. It is natural for Tsunade to identify them to confirm whether they are inside or not. There is cold light. Although news of Hangguang was sent back some time ago, this matter has not stopped. The corpse is not in shape, and the height and shape can be generally confirmed, but even Anbu can't confirm whether it is Hangguang. Tsunade is Konoha's strongest medical ninja and Hangguang's wife. Naturally, there is a way. Hyuga Luo Ning in a white dress followed behind Tsunade, and gradually began to cry. Every time she identified a body, she would cry again, and she cried more and more every time. I was really afraid. Tsunade was much calmer than Hyuga Luo Ning. Because almost 10 days ago, she had received a letter, written by Lu Han and sent by White Zetsu, and the letter appeared directly on the table, so Tsunade had never seen White Zetsu. Tsunade knew that Han Guang was working outside, not really missing, but he was a little uneasy. After all, the last time he got the news was 10 days ago. In 10 days, anything can happen. Chapter 0631 _ The cold light is uncontrollable. Lu Han once told Tsunade in a letter to keep it secret, even Hyuga Luo Ning should not tell it for the time being. He was afraid that Sarutobi Hiruzen would get the news. If Sarutobi Hiruzen guessed that Han Guang was going to kill Danzo, Danzo would definitely hide completely and even get the protection of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Master Tsunade. The Anbu ninja greeted in unison, led by Hyuga Bonin. During the period of Han Guang's disappearance, Anbu's affairs, the captain's assistant Sarutobi Yushuan, Hyuga Bonin, and Hokage will personally intervene in major events. Tsunade walked over to the first corpse, clasped his hands together, and a green light flashed from his fingers, then shot out into the first corpse. The Anbu ninjas were very nervous. They wanted to know the captain's news, but they didn't want the corpse in front of them to be Captain Hangguang. Tsunade shook his head quickly. The Anbu ninjas breathed a sigh of relief, and Hyuga Luo Ning stopped crying a little, her big eyes blinked, tears still hanging on her eyelashes. Tsunade walked over to the second corpse, followed by the third. Not at all. There is still the last corpse left, the whole body seems to have been scraped by a knife, there is no good flesh, and it should have been dead for a few days, and the corpse smells faintly. In this case, if you don't need a unique technique to confirm, can't tell the difference at all. Tsunade took a deep breath, and the more she got to the end, the more afraid she became. If she really confirmed it, she didn't know if she would go crazy. Hand seal again, Tsunade prays while performing the spell. Call. A phantom suddenly appeared behind Tsunade, and the phantom turned into a corpse in an instant, but it was almost silent, with faint chakra fluctuations. Tsunade felt it, but she didn't look back, thinking it was an Anbu ninja coming. One last confirmation, Tsunade let out a long breath and dropped his hand. No, not at all, Tsunade said. Atmosphere was very strange. After Tsunade finished speaking, Anbu ninja should take away the corpses immediately, but the Anbu ninjas didn't move, they formed a circle and looked behind Tsunade in surprise. Hyuga Luo Ning suddenly cried out with a, wow! Tsunade turned around suddenly, his eyes widened. Hyuga Luo Ning had already threw herself into Lu Han's arms and burst into tears. See Captain. The Anbu ninjas were so excited that they all got down on one knee. Lu Han hugged Hyuga Luo Ning, and squinted his hands. These guys didn't even wink at all, shouldn't they get out of the way right now? The Anbu ninjas got out right away, with the 4 corpses on the ground. Shortly after the Anbu ninja left, the news that Anbu Captain Han Guang returned to Konoha spread throughout Konoha. Uzumaki Kushina, who was patrolling in the north of the city, rushed home as soon as he got the news. Lu Han was talking to Tsunade when Uzumaki Kushina knocked open the door of the house. Having two wives is actually a very annoying thing. For example, now, Lu Han can't favor one over the other, and it is not appropriate to hold anyone in his arms, so Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning are sitting on the left and right of Lu Han, snuggling. The eyes of the two women are Yuhi's. Uzumaki Kushina didn't care so much. The crystal tears flew backwards. She ran to Lu Han, threw herself into Lu Han's arms, beat, and burst into tears. Kushina, after all, is still a child. Lu Han finally managed to appease Kushina, but it was a little embarrassing. After all, Kushina was not too young, and she was a girl, and Lu Han had just returned, so he had to spend some time with his wife. I couldn't come out, until Hatake Taishuo, who got the news, came to see him, and it was still the same. As Lu Han's direct disciple, Hatake Taishuo rushed over as soon as he got the news. After that, Hyuga Huyang, the chief of the main clan of the Hyuga clan, and Uchiha Leiyang, the chief of the Uchiha clan, came one after another, and the mansion was filled with crowds. All the chiefs of Konoha's clans came here, except for a few high-ranking people or the older generation who could be said to be visiting. All the other clan chiefs came to pay their respects. No matter how much older you are than Lu Han, you have to salute when you see Lu Han. Captain Konoha Anbu, this position is not enough to make those clan chiefs lower their posture, but Lu Han killed the third-generation head Kazekage, and Wanli chased and killed Hanzo, which finally hit him hard. This achievement and strength can only be looked up to by them. There are ninjas in Konoha village who are handsome and powerful. As long as they don't go out on missions, they all come to see Lu Han. Even Inuzuka, the commander of the garrison army who has always had a bad relationship with Lu Han, also came to see him in person, but he didn't stay. Chatted a few words, then said goodbye and left. Han Guang returned with honor. Tsunade decided to put on a big banquet, to wash the dust for Lu Han. Whoever came to visit, and who could stay, all stayed. Layout. For a while, Han Guang's home seemed to be the center of Konoha, and the mansion was filled with laughter and compliments. While the Hangguang family was holding a banquet, the atmosphere in the second conference room of the Hokage building was so cold that it was hard to breathe. The silent conference room, with the curtains drawn, was extremely dimly lit. This is a highly confidential small meeting, and only 4 people attended the meeting, namely the third-generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, the advisor Homura Mitokado, the advisor Kaharu Udatane, and Hokage's wife Sarutobi Bawako. These 4 people can be said to be the core decision-makers of Konoha. There should have been 2 more people, Hyuga Huyang and Danzo, but Hyuga Huyang and Hangguang were too tight, so Sarutobi Hiruzen did not inform him, and Danzo. At this moment just put it on the table. Sarutobi Hiruzen sat on the main seat with a gloomy and terrifying face. He had been looking at Danzo's head, and he didn't look away for a long time. The quiet needle drop in the conference room can be heard. Kaharu Udatane's face is also ugly. Sarutobi Lakebiwa is worried, but Homura Mitokado, wearing glasses, has an expressionless face, which makes it difficult to see what's in your heart. The people present are all Danzo's close friends. Since Konoha was established, they have known each other, supported each other, and worked together to create Konoha's glory today. Now, Danzo not only died, but also died in the name of missing Nin. There is no possibility of redress. The cold light is uncontrollable. Kaharu Udatane said coldly. Chapter 0632_hold up. Regarding the matter of Danzo's defection, Konoha executives all know the inside story. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen did not say it, Kaharu Udatane and other Konoha advisors who knew Sarutobi Hiruzen's thoughts well knew what was going on. So Sarutobi Hiruzen gave Danzo a way out. Originally, according to Sarutobi Hiruzen's plan, in a few years, when the limelight passes, some of Hangguang's children will have more concerns. Sarutobi Hiruzen will explain everything to Hangwang, and then he will welcome Danzo back to Konoha. It only needs to be explained to the outside world. Out of the play, Danzo is out on a classified mission, and everything will be fine. Now, Danzo is dead. Sarutobi Hiruzen can no longer name Danzo, because it was none other than Hangwang, the captain of Konoha Anbu, Sarutobi Hiruzen's #1 confidant. Sarutobi Hiruzen can't slap himself in the face. Hangwang couldn't understand that Danzo was helpless when he left Konoha. With his intelligence, he understood everything, but he still killed Danzo. Kaharu Udatane's voice stopped, and he shouted hoarsely, "Damn him! Yu Gong, Danzo has made great contributions to Konoha. After 20 years of ups and downs, Konoha has today's brilliance. Not to mention Danzo's great contribution, it is not much worse." In private, everyone present is Danzo's best friend. Danzo's death pierced everyone's heart. What made them even more uncomfortable was that Danzo didn't die for Konoha and could not enjoy the honor of dying in battle. Konoha's ninjas not only would not remember him, but also scold him. The name of a traitor can never be cleared. The meeting room fell into the silence of the needle falling again, after a long time. There are rumors that Hangwang will be the next generation of Hokage. If credit is given, in this ninja world war, Hangwang will be the first, cut off the third generation of Kazekage, and severely damaged Hanzo of the Salamander. It is certain that he will not betray Konoha. Even if he did something to harm Konoha, I'm afraid no one would believe it. Homura Mitokado adjusted his glasses and said quietly, "Also, the eldest lady of the Hyuga family is his wife, Huyang is close to him, and Uchiha also has an ambiguous relationship with him. He owns Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Leiyang probably knows about this. He himself is Captain Anbu, Master Konoha's core ace unit, Master Konoha's most secret things." "What do you mean?" Kaharu Udatane coldly crossed Homura Mitokado. "How to move him?" Homura Mitokado took it straight, glanced at Kaharu Udatane, and then at Sarutobi Hiruzen. With Lord Hokage's strength, he can certainly be subdued, but if this matter is resolved directly by force, it may lead to civil unrest in Konoha. Even, we, including Lord Hokage, will be questioned. Kaharu Udatane was speechless, but his face was terrifyingly gloomy. Who would have thought that the cold light that had been dormant for several years could become so terrifying? If, in the future, he becomes the Hokage, is it good or bad for me, Konoha? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked the question. I mustn't let him become Hokage. Kaharu Udatane immediately patted the table and said, he doesn't have the love of the first Hokage Lord, nor the ability of the second Hokage Lord to work hard. If he becomes Hokage, he will definitely become the second Uchiha Madara, burn the flames of war throughout the ninja world. Excuse. All excuses. In fact, everyone present, whether it is Sarutobi Hiruzen or Kaharu Udatane, all want revenge for Danzo. If it is only about public affairs and not selfish, Hangwang is the best choice for the next generation of Hokage. Menyon, what are your thoughts? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Homura Mitokado. He just felt that there was something in Homura Mitokado's words. You can't move him, there is no reason to condemn him. Homura Mitokado continued, since this is the case, you can't let him go down, let him disappear, then hold him up. Time will dilute everything, and then, quote, there were no people present who were wise and intelligent. As soon as Homura Mitokado said that, Kaharu Udatane's eyes lit up, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was quite moved. Call. A whirlwind suddenly rolled up behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. A black-robed ninja appeared out of thin air, whispered a few words to Sarutobi Hiruzen, and respectfully handed the pocket scroll to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned, opened the scroll and looked at the information from the country of the vortex. Luhan beheaded Kurigakure. There were more than 100 ninjas gathered by Danzo nearby. Some of them were solo ninjas and some were missing nin. It can be said that they witnessed Hangwang fighting against the core power of Kurigakure alone. The news came on the same day. It spread throughout the country of the vortex, and at this time, the information finally returned to Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen finished reading the scroll, his face still gloomy, and handed the scroll to Kaharu Udatane, and Kaharu Udatane handed it to Homura Mitokado after reading it. Just do as Menyon said. Sarutobi Hiruzen decided, recall White Fang immediately. That night, Hangwang's house was still brightly lit and noisy, because there were too many people for the banquet, and the tables were already placed in the courtyard. Ninjas from each tribe came to the mansion one after another, and whispered to the head of the clan. The cold light hit the core of Kurigakure in the country of Vortex, killed more than 10 strong Kurigakure, and escaped from the boiling rain. The beheading of Danzo was completely exposed. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want to hide it at all, he couldn't hide it at all, and Akatsuki would be known sooner or later. A compliment sounded again in the mansion, and the banquet reached a new climax. As the night got darker, after the honored guests were happy, the dinner was over, and the guests left one after another. Hyuga Huyang was the last to leave. Before leaving, he stood under the tree and talked to Luhan. The two had unusual identities, so no one dared to come forward to disturb them. Therefore, there were only 3 people under the tree, except Luhan and Hyuga Huyang. There is Hyuga Huyang's eldest son, Hyuga main clan young patriarch Hyuga Hiyashi. Hyuga Hiyashi showed great respect to Luhan. In terms of relationship, Luhan had to call him cousin, but Hyuga Hiyashi didn't dare to care about it. Hyuga Huyang is already thinking about the future of the Hyuga clan, and he took the initiative to propose that he hopes that Hyuga Hiyashi will enter the Anbu experience. One is to hone Hyuga Hiyashi's ability, and the other is to hope that Hyuga Hiyashi will get closer to Hangwang, the Anbu captain, so that Hangwang will join the Hokage in the future. When Hyuga Hiyashi took over as the patriarch, the Hyuga family's position in Konoha was stable. Chapter 0633 Hokage Assistant _ In fact, Hyuga Huyang can't be sure whether Hangwang will definitely ascend to the position of Hokage in the future. No one can fully grasp the future. After making the investment, he was actually very fortunate to let Luo Ning marry Hangwang, and the Hyuga family and Hangwang have always had an excellent relationship. After Hyuga Huyang and Hyuga Hiyashi left, Konoha was dead at night, and Luhan disappeared directly under the tree. The bedroom, Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning sat side by side. Both of them had a yuhi expression on their faces, but they were also a little annoyed. The so-called Little B was a new wedding. This night was destined to be extraordinary. They both wanted to monopolize Luhan, but neither of them it's easy to say who to drive away, although Tsunade is considered a big woman, but he is too embarrassed to speak. Luhan appeared in the room out of thin air, glanced at the 2 wives, and smiled strangely. Tsunade rolled his eyes at Luhan, as if he was blaming Luhan, but Hyuga Luo Ning jumped up and rushed towards Luhan. More urgent than Luhan. Spring is everywhere. After a few days, Luhan was at home at leisure, discussing life with his 2 wives. Sarutobi Hiruzen never summoned him. So far, he has not made a detailed report to Sarutobi Hiruzen, because he took out Danzo's head that day. Sarutobi Hiruzen could not hear anything. Hangwang's beheading of Danzo has also become the focus of Konoha's discussion in the past few days, and even the unfavorable situation of the war in the Land of Rain has been weakened a lot. Until 5 days later, Sarutobi Hiruzen summoned Luhan. When Luhan came to the office, Hitaki Sakumo, who had just rushed back, had just finished reporting to Luhan. The two passed by in the office. Hitaki Sakumo gestured to Luhan twice, indicating that he was waiting for Luhan outside. Luhan officially reported to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Senju Senra's death, Wanli's pursuit of Hanzo, and the killing of Kazekage. Luhan said it in great detail, but he concealed the fact that Senju Senra was still alive, and Uchiha Madara and others. Sarutobi Hiruzen always listened expressionlessly. He needs to know the whole situation, that's all. As for what he thinks is wrong, or encourages Luhan, he doesn't bother to say, it's not important anymore. After the report was completed, Sarutobi Hiruzen handed a scroll to Lu Han and said, "I will hold a special meeting soon, this is the content of the meeting." Lu Han frowned slightly, opened the scroll to take a look, and his face didn't change after that. "Is there a problem?" Sarutobi Hiruzen asked. "No," Lu Han replied, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen. "Yuhi name." If Sarutobi Hiruzen is not Yuhi's name, at this moment, Lu Han will be very grateful to Sarutobi Hiruzen, and even think that Sarutobi Hiruzen will really pass on the position of Hokage to himself, but Sarutobi Hiruzen is Yuhi's name. Outside the Hokage building, Lu Han came out and saw Hatake Sakumo, who had been waiting for a long time. "Congratulations, Lord Hengwang," Hatake Sakumo said with a smile, and saluted Lu Han. Given his relationship with Lu Han, of course, this is not necessary. This is just a joke. "Come on, let's go, find a place to sit first," Lu Han said. An hour later, Sarutobi Hiruzen held a special meeting in the third meeting room of the Hokage building. Total of 36 senior Konoha ninjas participated in this meeting. These 36 ninjas, in addition to senior Konoha leaders, also included clan chiefs, unit leaders, managers of various departments, etc. Tsunade also took the title of the Chief Medical Ninja of the Konoha Medical Unit. Identity to attend. At the meeting, Sarutobi Hiruzen first made a report on the current battle in the Kingdom of Rain, just to explain, not to solicit opinions, and finally he announced his decision: Konoha will never back down, and will use force to pacify this ninja war. After that, Kaharu Udatane read out the information about the village of Kurigakure that was just passed on. There is a suspected civil strife in Kurigakure village. It is speculated that it is related to the fall of the Kurigakure Zuxiang in the country of Vortex. Therefore, Lu Han once again became the focus of the audience. Now everyone knows that Lu Han killed the people. It can be said that Anbu Captain Han Guang is the one who caused the Kurigakure civil strife. The instigator, Boiling Yu, is likely to step down because of this, or even die in the turmoil. This is another achievement. Then, Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a speech on the current situation of the ninja world. The current situation is indeed extremely unfavorable for Konoha. The village of Iwagakure in the Land of the Land has ended its alliance with Konoha. All the legions have withdrawn to the Land of the Land. Country Kumogakure village core battled. On the battlefield of the Kingdom of Rain, there are only 3 forces left: Sunagakure village, Omegakure village, and Konoha village. 2 against 1. Konoha is under great pressure, but this does not mean that Konoha will lose, because Konoha is originally the strongest force in the ninja world. The Sunagakure village is a bit worse than the Konoha, and the comprehensive combat power of the Omegakure village is after the 5 major ninja villages. However, Konoha is still at a disadvantage. The main influence is in the village of Kurigakure, the Land of Water. Kurigakure village is now in civil strife. Once the civil strife is settled, they will most likely join the ninja war. At that time, Konoha will face a formidable enemy. After explaining the current situation in the ninja world, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally mentioned the highlight of this meeting, Danzo. Danzo was bewitched and turned away from Konoha. "My heart aches, missing Nin is unforgivable, and he's been killed now. After all, he hasn't done anything to hurt Konoha. From the first ninja war to the present, Danzo for me, Konoha was born and died." Sarutobi Hiruzen rambled for a long time, talking about Danzo's faults, and his past achievements, and finally said, "A person's death is like a lamp, his right or wrong is all in the past. I decided. Do you have any opinions on burying him in the tombs of Haoshin Group? Tombs of the Back Mountains, the ninjas who died fighting for Konoha, can be buried there." There was silence in the conference room, and Lu Han didn't object. He killed Danzo because of personal grudge, and Lu Han didn't care where Sarutobi Hiruzen buried him. "Okay, that's it," Sarutobi Hiruzen said, then picked up a scroll, unfolded it and looked at it. The following is an announcement of several personnel appointments. First, from now on, Han Guang will step down as captain of Anbu. Second, Hatake Sakumo will be resigned to Anbu, to take over the post of Captain Anbu, codenamed White Fang. Quote. What? What's the matter? An uproar. Once again, all the senior ninjas showed incredible expressions. Sarutobi Hiruzen actually deprived Hangwang Anbu of his position as captain. Third, Sarutobi Hiruzen's voice was a little heavier, and he glanced at everyone present. From now on, Hangwang will serve as Konoha's high-level advisor and also serve as Hokage's assistant. Chapter 0634_shelving. The noisy meeting room suddenly became quiet, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's successive announcements of personnel appointments made them feel quite caught off guard. First, they stripped Hangwang Anbu from the position of captain, and let the former Anbu captain White Fang rule Anbu again. The ninjas present thought that Sarutobi Hiruzen was holding a grudge, that's why Hangwang was dismissed. Danzo is not one or two, such as Hyuga Huyang or Uchiha Leiyang, or Inuzuka Tears. They never believe that Danzo will back Konoha, but it is a personal grudge between Danzo and Hangwang. They are all clear, after all, they were all witnesses to the chaos in the back mountain. So Hangwang killed Danzo first and then played. If Sarutobi Hiruzen has no idea in his heart, he will be damned. Unexpectedly, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not want to cut Cold Light, but to promote him. The power structure of Konoha village is highly centralized. Sarutobi Hiruzen, as Hokage, master has all the rights, and can decide or veto everything with one word. Under Hokage, there are several advisors, ninjas who serve as advisors. In addition to having a guard force, he did not directly command any Konoha troops, but he was a real high-level Konoha and had extremely high voting rights in major affairs. This kind of right sounds like nothing, but it is actually a great right. For a certain matter, if several major consultants express their support, even Hokage will rarely speak out against it. It's not that they can't, but they dare not. Advisors can not only select Hokage, but also remove Hokage. However, so far, the position of Konoha Hokage has only been passed down for 3 generations, and these 3 generations of Hokage are all wise, so there has been no case of removing Hokage. And speaking of Hokage assistants, in fact, this position is optional. Before the 3rd generation Hokage, the 1st generation Hokage and the 2nd generation Hokage were in power, and there was no Hokage assistant until Sarutobi Hiruzen came to power. When Danzo fought for power with him, both sides made concessions. Sarutobi Hiruzen became Hokage and added Hokage assistant. He appointed Danzo as Hokage's assistant, and gave Danzo the right to independently establish a force, thus Danzo established the root organization. Because of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen said when he announced his appointment that he was also serving as a Hokage assistant. Hokage assistant must be a consultant. If you really want to be honest, a consultant is an official position. It is the same with or without Hokage assistant. Hokage's assistant position is half a level higher than that of a consultant. The person who holds this position is the number 2 figure in Konoha, but in matters such as meeting votes, this position is useless, and only consultants can work. This is very strange. Even if Sarutobi Hiruzen wants to promote Hangwang, he does not need to appoint him as an assistant to Hokage. A consultant is enough. After all, in Konoha, this position was originally established for Danzo. Many people have already felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen is in release a signal about the position of Hokage, and directly mention the cold light to this position. It seems to be preparing for the future transfer to him. Hokage assistant, so suddenly. With the merits of Lord Hangwang, I can afford it. It's amazing. Lord Hokage said before that Lord Hangwang should step down as captain of Anbu, I thought. There were buzzing discussions in the conference room. Uchiha Leiyang was overjoyed. He sat beside Luhan and whispered his joy directly. The whole person was happy as if he was the assistant of Hokage. He was very fortunate, although the Uchiha tribe had conflicts with Hangwang duo. But 3 years ago, Uchiha Leiyang began to get close to Hangwang, and he gave Hangwang support at conferences many times, maintaining the honeymoon period with Hangwang. When Danzo was there, he always regarded the Uchiha clan as a thorn in the eye, which brought a lot of trouble to the Uchiha clan, but now it has been replaced by Hangwang. Hengwang has Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Leiyang has always believed that Hengwang has the Uchiha bloodline, and so on. Hengwang's upper position is equivalent to someone from the Uchiha tribe at the core decision-making level of Konoha. Thinking, Uchiha Leiyang glanced at Hyuga Huyang. Speaking of which, Hyuga Huyang and Hengwang are also very close, but in Uchiha Leiyang's heart, the Uchiha family is closer to Hengwang. Although Hyuga Huyang's niece Hyuga Luaning married to Hongwang, but Hongwang has Uchiha bloodline. Surprise of Uchiha Leiyang, Hyuga Huyang did not appear happy, but frowned, as if worried. Hyuga Huyang is not worried, but feels that something is wrong. Because he didn't even know about it before, it stands to reason that Sarutobi Hiruzen was going to hold a high-level meeting to discuss such a major decision. The meeting was indeed held, but Sarutobi Hiruzen did not inform Hyuga Huyang. Before this meeting, Hyuga Huyang didn't know anything. It's not normal, it can only be said that Sarutobi Hiruzen deliberately kept it from him. But he couldn't figure it out. Sarutobi Hiruzen sent Hongwang to the position of Hokage's assistant, but he didn't discuss it with himself. What was the reason? Only Lu Han knows Sarutobi Hiruzen's intentions best, because he is the party involved, and he knows best what he has gained and what he has lost after becoming Hokage's assistant. He got a position that was useless most of the time, but he lost control of Anbu. Sarutobi Hiruzen even transferred White Fang back to Anbu as the captain, in order to make Anbu completely out of Hengwang's control. If the captain is directly promoted from Anbu, the new captain was once under Hengwang, and in all likelihood he will obey Hengwang. No one can replace the prestige of Hongwang, only the old captain White Fang can. Lu Han lost the right to directly mobilize troops. Sarutobi Hiruzen promoted Lu Han to the position of the number 2 figure in Konoha. Speaking of beauty, he has a high position. In fact, unless Sarutobi Hiruzen also gave Lu Han the right to form an independent army, Lu Han would not be able to compare with the original Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen with him, he's Hokage's assistant, without him, he's nothing. This is the purpose of Sarutobi Hiruzen, using 4 words to describe his intention: put it on the shelf. As long as the other advisors have one heart with Sarutobi Hiruzen, Lu Han will be completely suspended without any rights. Unless Sarutobi Hiruzen is dead, it will be difficult for Lu Han to have a bright future. No matter how dazzling the exploits are, time will dilute everything. Chapter 0635_Opponent. If Sarutobi Hiruzen did not have the mind to settle accounts after the fall, Lu Han would not believe it if he killed him. He might be waiting for Lu Han to make a mistake, or he might be planning something secretly. It is difficult for Lu Han to speculate on what Sarutobi Hiruzen wants to do. Sarutobi Hiruzen is a very affectionate person. Danzo has always been planning to seize power and become Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't care. Danzo's position in his heart can be imagined. Personally, Lu Han killed Danzo because of personal vendetta. To root out missing Nin for Konoha is nothing but an excuse, which is the most unacceptable thing for Sarutobi Hiruzen, and this is pure revenge. There was a lot of noise in the conference room, and it didn't subside for a long time. Quiet. Sarutobi Hiruzen gave a low voice, and after attracting all the attention, he added, "The above personnel appointments were decided by me and several consultants. Do you have any questions?" Routine inquiries, generally speaking. In this kind of situation where Hokage has already stated that he has no opinion with his advisors, no one will object, but it is still not long-term. I don't think it's appropriate for Hongwang to serve as Hokage's assistant. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned slightly as the heavy voice caught everyone's attention. Inuzuka tears. The commander of the garrison, one of the few strong ninjas with real power among the older generation of powerhouses. To be said that Inuzuka has a very strong voice. Even if he is not a consultant, he has more power than Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado, etc. It is just that the right to vote is not as good as that of a consultant. Lu Han glanced at Inuzuka with tears, and kept his face. Lord Tears, please say. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned, although his heart was not happy, but on this occasion, he had to show respect to Inuzuka tears. Lord Hokage. Inuzuka got up in tears and said loudly, "It is undeniable that with Han Guang's merits, I can take up the role of Hokage's assistant. I am not a pedantic person. Although Han Guang is still young, he already has the demeanor of a leader. However, Hokage, the role of assistant is not essential. If Han Guang is placed in this position, it will waste his talent. During the war, there should be no such waste. The country of Rain is not conducive to the war. If Han Guang is bound by Hokage's assistant role, it is completely unnecessary." The subordinates proposed to temporarily leave Hokage's assistant position vacant, Han Guang to serve as a consultant, and at the same time to stay in the main battle legion, and go to the front line to work for Konoha. Inuzuka's tears made it very clear that he did not look down on Lu Han, but felt that it was a waste to let Han Guang serve as Hokage's assistant. Hokage assistants are the same as Hokage. Generally speaking, they cannot leave Konoha without authorization. Those who can delegate tasks to Hokage assistants can only be Hokage, and they must be extremely important tasks. Hokage assistants can leave. In comparison, Hokage is more important than Hokage assistants. Freedom. In any emergency, Hokage can leave Konoha, and when Hokage leaves, the Hokage assistant is in control. Inuzuka saw Lu Han's talents with tears. Although he had a bad relationship with Lu Han before, he was dedicated to the public and didn't care about those. According to his intention, he hoped that Lu Han would join the main army while serving as a consultant. As Lu Han, no matter which main battle army he goes to, he must be the Grand Commander. Once Lu Han becomes the commander of the Legion, his power will only increase further. Although the power level of the major legions is not as good as that of Anbu, 2,000, or 3,000. It can be said that Inuzuka's tears are fighting for power for Lu Han. Inuzuka tears deliberately contradicting Sarutobi Hiruzen. No, but he didn't know Sarutobi Hiruzen's intentions at all, not because he wasn't smart enough to think, but because he didn't dare to think that Sarutobi Hiruzen would use power for personal gain. Inuzuka tears has absolute loyalty to Sarutobi Hiruzen, but this loyalty comes from Konoha. Other words, Inuzuka's true loyal object is Konoha, not Sarutobi Hiruzen himself. He thought of Konoha wholeheartedly, and felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen's arrangement was inappropriate, so he bluntly spoke up. Lu Han looked at Inuzuka with tears in his eyes. Inuzuka tears and Sarutobi Hiruzen are not the same generation, so I don't understand how deep the relationship between Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo is. Lord Tears said yes. It is indeed a bit inappropriate. Hokage assists in this position, and it is not necessary. If Lord Hangguang is allowed to go to the front line, maybe the situation will be reversed. Many people agreed with Inuzuka's tearful words. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned deeply at the whispers in the conference room. He tilted his head and glanced at Kaharu Yuditane, tapped his hand on the table, and said, "Let's vote. I think Hangguang can be used as Hokage. Assistant, please raise your hand." Sarutobi Hiruzen was the first to raise his hand after speaking, followed by Kaharu Yuditane and Homura Mitokado. Uchiha Leiyang raised his hand to show his support. He didn't care what the front line was. He preferred Lu Han to succeed Hokage. Hokage's assistance in this position was a guarantee. Hyuga Huyang hesitated for a while, and finally chose to support it. Although he felt it which problem, but still chose to support Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hokage, the two major advisors, and the two major clan chiefs are all supportive, and the overall situation has been decided. In the end, very few people did not raise their hands. Inuzuka could only sigh and sit back in the chair. The meeting is over. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want to make any more troubles, and directly announced the end of the meeting. Hokage and the two advisors left first. Lu Han wanted to leave too, but was stopped. A large group of people gathered around to say congratulations and complimented Lu Han for a while, one at a time, Lord Hangguang. Only a few did not support Lu Han as Hokage. The assistants left directly through the side door. Lu Han finally got rid of the group of people, and said to Tsunade next to him, "You go back first." Then he said to White Fang on the other side, "As for the handover, I will go to Anbu later." Forest path. Inuzuka burst into tears, followed by a few cronies of ninjas, and the group went to the garrison camp. Inuzuka's face was very bad, and he still didn't understand why Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted Han Guang to be Hokage's assistant. Call. A figure appeared out of thin air in front of the path. Lu Han. Assistant, sir, is there something? Inuzuka stopped in tears. His face was not good. He didn't have a problem with Lu Han, but felt that Lu Han was here to make trouble. After all, he prevented Lu Han from serving as Hokage's assistant at that time. Chapter 0636_need support. Lord Lei, can you talk about it alone? Lu Han said calmly, with no joy or anger in his tone. Naturally, Inuzuka will not refuse such a request. After all, Lu Han is also Hokage's assistant now. He raised his hand to his side, and Inuzuka said with tears, "You go back first." "Yes, your lord." Several ninjas respectfully followed their orders and left one after another. Soon, only Lu Han and Inuzuka Lei were left in the woods. After Lu Han opened the insight map and confirmed that there was really no one else nearby, he walked up to Inuzuka Lei and said with a wry smile, "Thank you Lord Lei for me." Mei Yan, alas, I didn't expect this to happen. Lu Han's words made Inuzuka cry. He didn't understand. Lu Han didn't give Inuzuka Tears a chance to speak, and looked like Inuzuka Tears as his own, thinking that Inuzuka Tears knew everything, and said, "Maybe I really did something wrong, but Danzo tried to put me in the wrong place many times. Death, although the matter between me and him was a personal feud, it was not me who was at fault. He betrayed Konoha. As the captain of Anbu, I should eradicate the scourge of Konoha. If I hadn't discovered it earlier, Danzo would have already joined Boiling Rain." Ah! Lu Han sighed again, as if there were a lot of grievances in his heart. Inuzuka didn't understand even more tears, and frowned at Lu Han. How did he get involved with Danzo? Regarding Danzo's death, although Inuzuka's heart was touched by tears, after all, Danzo was Hokage's assistant, but he did not have any sadness. He and Danzo had no personal relationship, not a generation. Act, naturally will not be in contact with Inuzuka Tears. Inuzuka wanted to say something. "But I never thought." Lu Han interrupted Inuzuka's tears. "Danzo has made great contributions to Konoha after all, Lord Hokage, maybe he can't let go, he is too affectionate. Saying directly that Sarutobi Hiruzen is a public revenge, but you can't say it directly, that's too deliberate." Inuzuka's tears were a sudden shock, and his pupils shrank violently. He didn't understand before why Sarutobi Hiruzen appointed Lu Han as Hokage's assistant. It didn't make sense. Is it necessary to establish a successor in such a hurry? You know, Sarutobi Hiruzen is only in his 40s, and even if he abdicates, it will take 10 years to say the least. Now, Inuzuka's tears are somewhat clear. I didn't expect that things would turn out like this. Lord Lei spoke up for me and offended Lord Hokage. I can only say sorry. Thank you Lord Lei again. Lu Han saluted Inuzuka Tears, then shook his head and sighed. He turned around without taking 2 steps, and disappeared out of thin air. Beginning to end, Lu Han looked like Inuzuka knew everything. Actually Inuzuka didn't want to understand anything. But he understands now. Looking at the location where Lu Han left, Inuzuka's tearful face became cloudy and uncertain. He is not a fool. Lu Han has spoken to this level. He naturally understands that Lu Han's thanks and Lu Han's helplessness are all in his eyes. Inside. He never thought that Sarutobi Hiruzen would have a day when he would use power for personal gain. Don't let Hengguang go to the battlefield, don't give Hengguang any real power. To put it mildly, Sarutobi Hiruzen is just crowding out Lu Han. He is Hokage, just say no to trust and you can do it. But now is the wartime, this matter is often after all. Hengguang stayed behind Konoha, and without a strong man like him on the battlefield, Konoha might have to die as many ninjas as possible. To Anbu's station, Lu Han was in a good mood. So far, no one knew that Lu Han had ambitions to fight for the position of Hokage. You must know that waiting for the position and taking the initiative to fight are two concepts. If Lu Han wants to fight, he will definitely need people's support. Kaharu Udatane and Homura Mitokado are both Sarutobi Hiruzen's hardcore cronies, and they are also very concerned about Danzo's death, so these two can't be counted on at all, but Hyuga Huyang can still fight for it, followed by Inuzuka Tears. Inuzuka's seniority is high, and he holds great power. He really has a detached status. The reason why he is not a consultant is mainly because the task of the garrison is too heavy, and he does not have the time to hold frequent meetings. Inuzuka's performance at the meeting won Lu Han's favor and made Lu Han understand that he would not deny a person based on his age, but would place more emphasis on strength and merit. For these 2 points, Konoha could no longer find a second person. Can be compared with Lu Han. Coming to Anbu, Hitaki Sakumo was already waiting for him in the command room. Handover of duties is very simple, because Lu Han has been out on assignments before. Recently, Sarutobi Yushuan and Hyuga Bonin are in charge of Anbu's affairs. They need to hand over a lot of information to Hitaki Sakumo, while Lu Han only needs to sign a few words. Hitaki Sakumo always looked complicated when he was handed over. Sarutobi Hiruzen probably didn't tell him the inside story. At most, he told him to hold Anbu tightly in his hand, but that didn't mean that Hitaki Sakumo didn't understand. He must have figured out something. Lu Han didn't talk to him too much. If he talked too much, it would create a rift. Before parting, Lu Han said, "Since you're here, what about the S department?" Taishuo will take over as S Corps commander. Hitaki Sakumo said. Oh, Lu Han's heart skipped a beat. What a surprise. Hitaki Taishuo is Lu Han's direct disciple, not counting his loyalty to Konoha, but his loyalty to Lu Han is obviously higher than his loyalty to Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the history of the original book, Hitaki Taishuo is an unknown person. I think he has not broken through the bottleneck and died early. From this perspective, Lu Han has rebuilt him. The level of Division S is equal to that of Anbu, and even Tsunade is named in Division S. That is, compared to the leaders of the two divisions, Captain Anbu has a higher power level.